I'm a little frustrated. Oh, by the way, Epstein, obviously one of those issues as well. I got to start writing down all the issues on a list. But Marjorie Taylor Greene, she is like all over the place. Do you think, Joan, she's enjoying the attention, Marjorie Taylor Greene? She was on with Dana Bash.
She's an attention
everywhere.
hog, and you know that. She always has.
You can say the other word. You can say the W word.
I can't. No, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
an attention hog, like David Hogg with 2 G's.
Right, right, exactly.
Well, you're right. I think she's fixing to run for governor. That's what I think she's going to do. I think she is going to run for governorship for the state of Georgia. And I've got some great audio from her coming up. But Brian Kemp is termed out. Oh, okay. Are we back on now? All right. So good morning to the people on Super Talk TV. And I'm sorry you had to just listen to the radio. So anyway, there's a lot to talk about with Donald Trump, Marjorie Taylor Greene. As a matter of fact, now that we're on, the Daily Dan poll for YouTube is: Are you team DJT or MGT, Marjorie Taylor Greene?
And why do we have to split ourselves? It's stupid. All of this is dumb, but you're right. I think she is running for governor.
Yeah,
makes sense.
Yeah, because Donald Trump does not have a great relationship right now with the current governor, Brian Kemp, for the state of Georgia. And there's a part of her, obviously, that feels like she needs to be less MAGA to appeal to the more independent voters or the more moderate voters in Georgia, which I mean, apparently there are a lot. By the way, do you know who also may be considering, I can't believe this, another run for the governorship for the state of Georgia?
Who?
Stacey Abrams.
Get out of here.
Do you want to know my theory on this?
Ugh.
My theory is Stacey Abrams needs to get on the government health and dental so that she can get that space fixed between her teeth. I think that's what she's trying to do. Is that?
Yeah, it sounds right.
I'm sorry.
You could fit an electric school bus between that gap.
You could. Or all the lies that she tells, just flying out between that gap. That's like that gap is like the lie creator, Stacey Abrams. The lies just come flying out of the middle of her, whatever. See, I shouldn't be making fun of Can I just tell you there's a lot more. You know what? Because people get mad at me when I actually go after people for how they look. I mean, because certainly look at me. I am a huge prize.
Clearly.
Sure.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, I woke up this morning, and then I'm going to get down to business. I woke up this morning, Joan. Mm-hmm. Christmas had arrived in the Mandis household.
Oh, nice.
So I go, I told you, this is what Amy does, right? I wake up, and magically a Christmas tree is in the middle of the living room, and eggnog is in the refrigerator.
That's awesome.
It's a Christmas miracle even before Thanksgiving.
That's awesome.
I love it. Does
she do it to surprise you in the morning?
I think at this point she does. I think that, you know, I kind of get a sense of where she's going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, what am I going to wake up to? You know? How many, do you guys have just one tree, Joan, 2, 3? How many do you have in your home?
We have one.
You have one?
Yeah. We have one in the house, and then we have one. My husband loves his trains, so he sets up a train platform, and we have to have one on the train platform, too.
Oh, okay, that's nice. Mm-hmm. Amy's trying to get me to buy one of those sleds. So you put the tree in the sled.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, you know what's not cute? Me trying to navigate around it at midnight when I'm trying to walk downstairs. It's because our home is only so big.
Right.
And I told Amy we don't have the room for, you know, that big of a sled. So, you know, you think the negotiation of the continuing resolution was difficult?
Yeah.
That's me trying to negotiate this sled situation with Amy and have I didn't know you could actually, it's like an ornament kind of a thing. You put the Christmas tree in the sled.
Yeah.
And it's just a pulping, whatever. Anyway, so I woke up and eggnog was indeed in the refrigerator. I didn't know she had ordered any.
Very
I'm
nice.
not a big eggnog fan, so I'm just telling you. I like candy corn. I don't like eggnog. It is a 5:15. Joan, what's going on the roadways?
Looks like not a whole lot, Dan. Actually, we have one place that is, looks like there's some trouble. It's in Hermitage. It's on Chute Lane at Saundersville Road. There's a crash there involving injuries. But everything else looks good this morning heading in on all the major roadways. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
So did you say that thing over there on Chute Lane, was it an accident?
Yes.
Is it an injury crash?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you know where Chute Lane is? Are you?
No, I was just, you know what? I was going to make a bad joke.
Probably should not.
Where it's like somebody gets on an accident on Chute Lane and they probably say shoot.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, look at the time. It is 5:16 on Nashville's Morning News. All right. So is this Donald Trump? Is this Donald Trump acknowledging that maybe he may have gone too far on tariffs? This is the headline. Because I'm listening to all these people over the weekend. Oh, Donald Trump, he's realizing he shanked it on tariffs, right? Trump is cutting tariffs on beef, coffee, bananas, and other food imports. This happened on Friday. Big topic of conversation over the weekend. The president exempted foods like beef, coffee, bananas from his sweeping country-by-country tariffs on Friday as the administration grapples with cost of living frustrations and quickly rising prices for some types of food. So we're talking about coffee, tea, bananas, mangoes, avocados, coconuts, pineapples, cocoa, and spices such as nutmeg, according to an executive order. It also covers beef, oranges, and tomatoes. So you got all these people that are positioning this as a loss for the president, right? Oh, he realizes he made a mistake. But the president is saying, listen, I've made substantial progress in negotiating trade deals with other countries. So if we're making all these great deals, then why should I continue to punish these countries with high tariffs, right? So I understand what the president is saying. And here's the thing. Only in Trump deranged syndrome America will the same people that are screaming about how awful the tariffs are now screaming that Donald Trump is reducing the tariffs on these particular items. Do you know what I mean? The president can't win for losing. The food products will no longer be covered by the reciprocal tariffs that Mr. Trump imposed on most U.S. trading partners, which range from 10 to 40% or more. Some types of food could still be impacted by other forms of tariffs. But see, here's the other thing that I would say is that if Donald Trump is recognizing and he's got people telling him that to help out the American people, it would be wise to lower the tariffs, then, okay, he's going to lower the tariffs. Some people would say that this is the president listening to the American people who are out there saying that affordability is an issue. But I do understand that President Trump himself and his staff, Scott Bessent, others, have come out and said, well, the countries are paying the tariffs, not the American people. So then how is this going to ultimately help the economy? But Trump is saying the reason why I'm lowering these tariffs is because we've reached good deals or better deals with these particular countries. So whatever, I think it's going to be good if we start to see the prices of these items go down. Not a big deal to me. I think that is great. You know what I really liked, though, this weekend? What I really liked is that despite the fact, and by the way, I don't want to bury the lead. Trump came out over the weekend. I don't even know what day it was. A lot happened over the weekend. But he says, please, Congress, vote on the Epstein files already. Mike Johnson, do it. I don't care. That's what Donald Trump said. Do you know that there is more? There is more, and I think I said this to you this morning, Joan. There is more evidence that shows that Donald Trump did nothing untoward with those girls than evidence that he did. The face of the whole Epstein files horrifying story, Virginia Giuffre, she actually came out and said Donald Trump did nothing wrong. Another one of these women came out earlier this year and also said Donald Trump did nothing wrong. And every time the Democrats believe that they have something that's going to absolutely bury Donald Trump. Joan, you weren't here. It was a coordinated attack, or maybe you were. I can't remember now. But it was a coordinated attack with CNN where CNN, they uncover, right, all these emails that supposedly implicate Donald Trump. The only thing that those emails proved last week was that Jeffrey Epstein was actually trying to work not only with the media, but also a Democrat trying to bury Donald Trump. But there's no evidence that Donald Trump did anything wrong. And Jeffrey Epstein himself proved in those emails that he was working with the New York Times to try to take out the president. So there's a lot going on. Donald Trump, and by the way, the House of Representatives, apparently they are going to vote on that bill. I forget exactly what you call it, but to try to get the DOJ to release the Epstein files. Trump is saying, by all means, knock yourselves out. Go ahead and vote on that. And they're going to vote on it tomorrow. It looks like they have the votes to try to compel the Department of Justice to release all of those documents. And, the Republicans voted last week to release some documents. You also have the Senate, who's got their own agenda, and Donald Trump has his own agenda as well. We'll ultimately see where all of this goes. But I think Trump is so clearly ready to move on. And I think that the best thing to do right now is to release everything. That's the only way that you're going to get most of these people to back down, and transparency is always the best way to go. And if you want to disarm your enemies, just release the stuff. I mean, you're already, and I don't really understand, people that say, well, Donald Trump doesn't want these things, doesn't want these documents released. I don't think Donald Trump cares. I don't think he's cared in a long time. That's the whole point that I've been making, is he has shown time and time and time again that there's nothing in here that is proving that he did anything wrong. Ultimately, maybe he's trying to protect someone else. We'll have to wait and see what happens. All right. It is 5:23 on Nashville's Morning News. But my whole point is that while the rest of the media was very much focused on the Epstein files, Donald Trump was focused on, and it's a video, Donald Trump was focused on the economy. I like what he said to Maria Bartiromo.
Investing in America, $20 trillion. No country's ever done anywhere even near that, like a fraction of that. Biden did less than $1 trillion in 4 years. I did 20 trillion. We're going to do over 17 trillion in 8 months. By the time we end, we could do over $20 trillion. There's never, in China, no matter where you go, there's never been anything like it. We are building up something that's unbelievable. And a big part of that are the tariffs, because they don't want to have to pay the tariffs, because it's so unsustainable that they come and build the pharmaceuticals and the chips and all of the things. They're coming into the United States and they're building them. It's a miracle what's happening.
All right, so there you go. Donald Trump, of course, he's talking like Donald Trump does, calling his economy a miracle. But here's the thing. There is no doubt that foreign investment has improved over the last 10 months. And that $20 trillion is both actual investments so far and pledged investments as well. Now, as usual, there are debates over, what Donald Trump said. Is he being fact-checked? Whatever. But here's the deal. You do have the pledges from the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Japan, South Korea, among other nations. And, of course, a lot of companies coming into America as well. That's huge. We've got some great numbers on real wages that Scott Besson was talking about earlier. And so we're going to talk about, the reality of what is going on with our economy. And I don't have, what is it, rose-colored glasses on? Is that what they say? I'm not going down that road. I've been saying all along, there are challenges afoot, but there's a lot to look forward to in 2026. Got a lot more straight ahead. By the way, Joan, have you seen on Fox News, they did a great segment on how Trump derangement syndrome is an actual thing. Oh, have you seen that now?
No.
So I've got the video from Friday, Harris Faulkner talking about how Trump derangement syndrome, she's talking to, I guess, a psychotherapist or something.
Yeah.
And he's talking about how his patients actually do have Trump derangement syndrome.
Did she say that he admits that they come in and they just spill on him?
Yeah. They get up in the morning and they can't stop thinking about how awful he is. It is amazing. So I've got now some of the symptoms coming up. Some of the symptoms of Trump derangement syndrome. That is all straight ahead. 526. Joan, what's coming up in the news?
Memphis is about to get more National Guardsmen. We've got that story coming up here at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning, 531. I'm Joan Jones with your top story. Surprisingly chilly for this morning.
30s as we're starting off our day today. As you're grabbing a morning cup of coffee, you'll want to bundle up a little bit more than we have the last couple of mornings. Rest of our day looks pretty pleasant, mixing clouds and sun. We are back in the upper 50s to the low 60s this afternoon, and the cloud cover will eventually thicken up very late today and into the overnight tonight.
WSMV4 Stefano DiPietro. He says we'll get some wet weather starting tomorrow and then again on Thursday through Saturday. In the news, the House of Representatives is set to vote tomorrow to release the full Justice Department files related to Jeffrey Epstein.
Overnight, a major reversal from President Trump.
I don't care about it, released or not. What I think you should do, if you're going to do it, then you have to go into Epstein's friends. This Reid Hoffman spent a lot of time on the island. I was never on his island. Bill Clinton is the one there supposedly 28 times.
Trump last night making his new position clear. House Republicans should vote to release the Epstein files because we have nothing to hide, and it's time to move on from this Democrat hoax. It comes ahead of tomorrow's expected vote in the House on a bill that could force the release of all of the Justice Department's files on Epstein.
Even if the House passes the bill to release the files, it still needs to pass the Senate, where its fate has been unclear. It would then head to President Trump's desk for his signature.
That's ABC's Allison Kosick reporting. In Memphis, a surge of National Guardsmen is expected this week with up to 210 more troops. They'll join the other federal and state police forces in a continued crackdown on violent crime. So far, that task force says they're making a big difference. More than 2,300 arrests have been made. More than 1,000 warrants have been cleared, and 101 missing children have been located. That is the latest news. Traffic is coming up next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Still working that crash scene in Hermitage this morning on Chute Lane at Saundersville Road. Also one on 65 on the northbound side in Talbot's Corner. This is right at I-24 North. The crash there blocks the right shoulder. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.537, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, Joan.
Yes, sir.
Glad you're back.
Thank you.
Sam, great job filling in. Now, Sam, I've got an assignment for you.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
He's going to be so excited.
I need you to grok fancy, expensive dresses wore by Michelle Obama, okay? Can you do that for me? Fancy, expensive dresses worn by Michelle Obama. You know, fancy designers and all that kind of stuff. Just find that for me. So, Joan, they've been talking about
My phone wanted to autocorrect it to Michael.
Did you say that on the air? Did you say that? Okay, that's very funny. Good. I never know whether or not he's like speaking in my headphones or actually on the air, but that was good. Jonathan Alpert is a psychiatrist who is on Fox News. First of all, Joan, real quick, do you believe that Trump derangement syndrome truly is a thing?
Oh, yeah, I do.
Okay, me too.
Oh, yeah.
Me too. People have destroyed their lives and their careers from their Trump derangement syndrome. So this was on Fox on Friday. Jonathan Alpert is a psychiatrist of some sort, psychotherapist. And he said, oh, yeah, this is real.
Identify it for us. You're in a session and you pick up on what?
Well, Harris, it doesn't take long for me to pick up on this. People are obsessed with Trump. Mm-hmm. They're fixated. They're hyper-fixated on Trump. And they talk about some of the features of this disorder. They can't sleep. They feel traumatized by Mr. Trump. They feel restless. I had one patient who said she couldn't enjoy a vacation because anytime she saw Trump in the news or on her device, she felt triggered.
Wow. Is that not the craziest thing? You know, they talk about, that you've hit rock bottom.
Yeah.
Well, like if you're like an alcoholic, when you have, I guess, lost everything and so forth. There are people that have lost careers and loved ones and everything else because of their Trump derangement syndrome. Because they do. Look at the BBC.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I went up 5 octaves.
Yes, you did.
But look at the BBC, right? So the BBC, and I don't know, by the way, who designated the BBC. Did you designate the BBC as like the most trusted news source in the world? I don't know. I don't know who did that. But even the BBC, the most trusted news source in the world, supposedly neutral and all that, deceptively edited Donald Trump's January 6th speech. That's been in the news the last couple of weeks. So you have once highly respected journalists and media outlets who have lost all credibility because of their Trump derangement syndrome. You also have how many different people? I mean, millions of people that have lost loved ones because of their Trump derangement syndrome as well. So, or their loved ones, TDS. So I actually believe with this Jonathan Alpert, I actually believe that Trump derangement syndrome is an actual condition. Now, whether or not this means that, you're going to have the pharmaceutical companies say, oh, we've got just the cure for that. I'll tell you what, though, all these folks that are, taking hemp kind of products, CBD kind of products to deal with their Trump derangement syndrome, they're going to be in a lot of trouble. I'm just going to have trouble sleeping. Here's more.
So this is a profound pathology, and I would even go so far as to call it the defining pathology of our time.
These people come to you for the things that you described. Can't sleep, traumatized, perhaps depression. I don't want to put words in your mouth. But at first, you are there to treat an illness, a disorder of some kind. And what you figure out is the trigger.
Well, and Trump is the trigger for many of these people. And to be that fixated on a figure, on a person, It's simply not healthy, and our country has strayed so far away from where we once were. If you look at in the 80s when President Reagan was shot, people were united. He famously said, "I hope you're all Republicans," to the surgeons, and the response was, "Today, Mr. President, we're all Republicans." But our country has lost that. We've strayed so far from that unity.
Is that not the craziest thing? The defining pathology of our time, Trump derangement syndrome. And he brings up a great point about Reagan. Now, I'm not going to say that everyone was united when Reagan was shot. I'm sure that there were some people that were, secretly hoping that he would die. But the thing is, it's a heck of a lot better than what we're seeing these days with the attempted assassinations of Donald Trump and the assassination of Charlie Kirk. I mean, you look at what happened in the 80s. What year was that when Reagan was it 86? 85, 86, I think, when President Reagan was, I may be way off. 86, 85? I was in social studies class when the attempted assassination on Ronald Reagan.
81.
81! 81.
And then proceeded to win every state but Minnesota?
No. What? Yeah, but so the attempted assassination of Ronald Reagan, I guess, was 1981. I thought I was in social studies class. Actually, social studies class was when the Challenger blew up for yours truly, which was, I think, a junior, senior in high school. 81.
86.
86. There you go. All right. Anyway, bottom line is that you look at the reaction, the world and our nation's reaction to the attempted assassination of Ronald Reagan versus the attempted assassinations of Donald Trump, and the differences in reaction. I mean, you have people, again, not to belabor the point, but celebrating the assassination attempt of Donald Trump, wishing that Donald Trump was actually gunned down right there on television in front of God and the world. And I mean, clearly, as this guy says, this psychotherapist says, we have lost our way.
What do you see? Because you told me off camera 3/4 of your patient load right now has what you're calling this TDS.
Well, 3/4 of my patients will present with a lot of these symptoms, and within probably 5 minutes of seeing me, their hatred for Trump comes up. So if you're that hyper-focused on Trump, that's a real issue, and it's worth being treated.
I don't know how they treat it, though.
Yeah, did he go on to say how they treat it?
No.
Do they try to talk people off a ledge? Or, I mean, how do you treat that?
I don't know. I mean, do you give them drugs? Do you just encourage them to be alcoholics? I don't know. I don't care. Here's the thing. I don't care.
Yeah.
If you were that far gone, then whatever. But I grokked a great checklist, Joan, of symptoms of TDS.
Oh, okay,
you ready?
Good. Ready.
Spontaneous caps lock seizures. You type entire paragraphs in all caps for no reason, then blame it on residual Trump energy. So, because, when people are texting or posting on social media, it's in all caps.
Right.
Because you're talking about Donald Trump. Phantom menace reflex. Every red baseball cap within 50 yards triggers an immediate fight or flight response. Bonus points if you hiss at a blank wall because it once had a Trump poster in 2015. All right. News-induced Tourette's. You scream, "Orange man bad," at random intervals, even when the TV is off and you're just reheating lasagna. Selective time blindness. You're convinced it is still November of 2016 and that the election is happening any day now. Covfefe nightmares. You wake up in a cold sweat trying to decode a 4-letter typo that happened 8 years ago. Uncontrollable fact-checking spasms. You interrupt Thanksgiving dinner to scream, "That's not what Snopes said in 2018, while everyone quietly passes the gravy. See, I think these are kind of funny, and they're actually true. MAGAphobia. The sight of an American flag on a pickup truck causes you to clutch your emotional support oat milk latte and whisper, "Fascism," under your breath. Chronic outrage overload. Your resting heart rate is 140 BPM because you just discovered a 74-year-old man in Florida still likes the guy. terminal irony deficiency. You call everyone else in a cult. You call everyone else in a cult while attending your third Democracy Dies in Darkness candlelight vigil this month. All right, so that's funny. Let's see here. Reality distortion field. You genuinely believe literally Hitler is scheduled to open the concentration camps next Tuesday again. Sudden onset of Canadian citizenship fantasies. You've bookmarked 3 different How to Move to Nova Scotia articles that you first saved in 2016. How many people have left? Like, you've had Ellen DeGeneres, Rosie O'Donnell, right?
Yeah.
Has anybody else left? I mean, I don't know. I don't really pay much attention anymore. Advanced stage symptoms of TDS. You refer to 2017 through 2021 as the dark times with the same gravitas as Lord of the Rings. You own a Not My President shirt that's now vintage, and you still can't say the years 2025 through 2029 out loud without doing the sign of the cross. So, I mean, personally, I find that funny. And they don't say, and maybe there's another clip out there that shows how you actually do cure people of TDS. I do find it funny. Real quick, and later on in the show, what do you have? I see your mic is on there, Sam.
Yeah, so I can't track really the number of people who have moved out of the country, but apparently Google searches post-election, November 5th and 6th, 2024, searches for migration-related terms surged 1,514%.
Yeah, but that could also be migration as in illegal migration.
Well, no, it's talking about moving from the U.S. to other countries specifically. So terms like moving to New Zealand from the U.S. spiked 7,600%. How to move to Canada and immigrate from U.S. hit record highs.
Do you know, I wish they would, because there'd be more affordable housing for other people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because they take their crappy policies with them.
Hey, you guys want to hear what Michelle Obama said?
Well, as we saw in this past election, sadly, we ain't ready.
We ain't ready, she says, for a female president. We ain't ready, is what Michelle Obama says.
That's why I'm like, don't even look at me about running, because you all are lying. You're not ready for a woman. You are not.
Okay, so number one, I would invite Michelle Obama to look at the train wreckery that was the Kamala Harris campaign. That's number one. And number two, Hillary wasn't much better. I love how these people on the left, they're like, oh, Michelle Obama, I should say, Kamala Harris was the most qualified candidate ever. Well, then how is it that she lost so gloriously
miserably
to Donald Trump, right? So when Michelle Obama says, she...
Doing a little bit of a Jasmine Crockett there.
I don't know who she's talking to, right? But she gets her street cred voice on, and she starts talking like she's from the street. And she says, because the question was about running for president, she says, y'all ain't ready for a female president. No, we weren't ready for Kamala Harris as a president because she was a train wreck, and so is Hillary Clinton.
So don't waste my time. You know, we got a lot of growing up to do. And there's still, sadly, a lot of men who do not feel like they can be led by a woman, and we saw it.
Piss off. Do you know what I mean? Piss off. Do you know I'm trying to think now. I've had 3 or 4 general managers in my time. And I'm just going to relate this to my own personal experience. I've had 3 to 4 general managers in my time. And I'm going to tell you that a couple of them were better than the male general managers that I've had. One female general manager that I've had, best general manager I've ever had. And so I'm just going to say that this whole notion of a lot of men who can't be led by a woman is complete BS. And what she's actually doing is she's trying to distract from the fact that Kamala Harris and Hillary Clinton were terrible candidates. And by the way, sexist much? Is that not sexist? To say that, all men are not willing to be led by a woman, which I believe is BS. I would happily vote for a woman. Happily vote for a woman if there is a good one out there that I thought could lead the country.
Yeah, I think it also takes some honest self-reflection, one of the things my wife loves to say is, I can't trust another female. Why would I vote for one?
Oh.
Gets a little catty like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I'm going to take her opinion more seriously than somebody else trying to tell me to vote for a female.
All right, here's more.
What was the question?
I just said, we don't need to ask it again. You answered it.
Whatever. All right, now.
Look at those satellite dishes for earrings.
Oh, the question asker?
Yeah.
Well, we're on the radio, but yeah, she's got ridiculous looking earrings. Let's go through Michelle Obama's very quickly now because we're running out of time. Tell me, though, before I play this piece of audio coming up, tell me the really stupidly expensive dresses that Michelle Obama has worn over the years.
So the inaugural ball gown that she wore by Jason Wu, estimated value $100,000 to $150,000. It was a custom one of one.
For a dress.
For a dress. That's now in the Smithsonian.
Why is it in? Go on.
Naeem Khan, state dinner for Singapore, a rose gold chainmail and crystal embroidered gown, $25,000 to $40,000. Okay. A Versace dress for an Italy state dinner that was between $80,000 and $120,000.
Right, so embedded in the, we get the idea. Thank you, Sam. So the question was asked, or this conversation goes to, isn't it a shame that first ladies are supposed to be, dressing in a certain way and looking a certain way? I want to play this and just point out the hypocrisy, because the point for her to make this point was when she was in the Oval Office. Instead, she engaged in the fancy and expensive dresses. Listen to this.
So thank you all for being there for us.
You stepped into a role that carried a preconceived idea of femininity and wifedom that was founded on the landmines of racism and misogyny.
Oh,
what
my
the First
gosh.
Lady wears is one of the main ways, which you've already said, that a First Lady is talked about. It comes with so much historical expectation.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about the fact that the First Lady is an archetype for wifedom and femininity?
So you heard her mention about the things that the First Lady wears. Okay, well, Michelle Obama, let me play the audio, then I'm gonna comment.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. Don't agree with that. It's it is a completely throwback on. It's a definition that has no current status.
So basically, she's saying that it's BS that the first ladies have to wear all of this fancy stuff and be the archetypes of whatever the hell it was. So if that was the case, though, then, Joan, I'd have to ask this question. Mm-hmm. Why did she not go to TJ Maxx?
Yeah, right.
For her inaugural gowns? Why didn't she not go to, I don't know, Walmart or Target?
I have the answer.
Go ahead.
She would have to rub elbows with the unwashed masses.
Oh, she doesn't want to go. Can you imagine Michelle Obama?
She doesn't want to go in her pajama
TJ
bottoms to the Walmart, which many people do,
including a lot of men. Don't get me started.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, but you see my point.
Yeah.
She's been 8 years in the White House. So if she wanted to break that mold, and if she wanted to, bring the First Lady image down a few pegs, she very well could have. I'd be willing to bet. I've been to Washington, D.C. I know where the White House is. I'd be willing to bet there is a TJ Maxx or a Walmart within 10 minutes of the White House. I'd be willing to bet.
Oh, yeah, there is.
Somewhere in, the greater Washington, D.C. area, if they haven't closed down because of crime, they have a TJ Maxx or a Walmart or a Target. And she could have lowered that expectation herself. But he chose not to, which tells you that she is a hypocrite.
Yeah, the cheapest dress she wore, according to Grokken, any time, since her relevance as being the First Lady, was $15,000.
Wow. All right. There you go.
Oh, but that's not very average American person now, is it?
No,
boy.
Especially
considering some of them were loaned, gifted, or heavily discounted and custom made for her.
All right. Well, there you go. Michelle Obama. As usual, full of the poo-poo.
Well said.
Joan was coming up.
The FAA has just lifted its orders to scale back flights at the nation's airports. We've got that story for you coming up here at 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning. It is now 6 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Little nip in the air. As you head out the door this morning, you're going to feel it.
Getting out the door this morning with temperatures that are down in the 30s, waking up to start off the day. The cloud cover should gradually increase as we head through the afternoon and into the late part of our evening, but we're still going to work our way back into the 60s.
Yeah, and right now it's 35 degrees. At 5 o'clock this morning, the FAA lifted its order to scale back flights at the nation's busiest airports. WSMB4's Joylyn Bukovac went out to Nashville International Airport to check things out this morning.
The agency says staffing issues have now stabilized, and they're seeing far less staffing trigger events, which is what initially set off those reductions in the first place. And now that those reductions have ended, travelers, they should start seeing less delays and more predictable connecting flights as well. All this comes just in time for getting ready for Thanksgiving. That's less than 2 weeks away, and that's one of the busiest travel seasons.
Now, the flight cuts have been in effect for 10 days. Also, the Department of Agriculture has restored full SNAP benefits. They're saying this morning that everyone on SNAP will have been fully restored by the end of the day today. Meantime, USDA Chief Brooke Rollins telling Newsmax that the Trump administration is planning to have everyone receiving SNAP benefits reapply after finding 186,000 dead recipients in 29 red states.
Can you imagine when we get our hands on the blue state data, what we're going to find? It's going to give us a platform and a trajectory to fundamentally rebuild this program, have everyone reapply for their benefit.
Rollins saying that her department found a person who's been using the same Social Security number, receiving 6 different EBT cards in 6 different states. About 200 more National Guardsmen are headed to Memphis as the violent crime crackdown continues there. And now a surge of federal agents is also arriving in North Carolina this weekend.
The Department of Homeland Security officially announcing Operation Charlotte's Web, saying it's targeting, quote, the worst of the worst criminal illegal aliens. Gregory Bovino, the Customs and Border Patrol commander overseeing the operation, on social media touting 81 arrests on Saturday, claiming many of them had significant criminal and immigration histories.
That's ABC's Faith Abube. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Stock futures all in the green this morning with the Dow futures up 31, NASDAQ futures gaining 123, S&P futures are plus 20. That's the latest news. Traffic is next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Couple of problems now. One is on 40 westbound and south side at right at Fessler's Lane. You've got a crash there, and it takes out the right lane. Also, Murfreesboro Pike right out at B&A. The westbound lanes at McGavick Pike, there's a crash there. That one involves injuries. Got a crash as well on 24 westbound. This one's in Smyrna. It's on the left shoulder right now, just past Sam Ridley Parkway, exit 66. And then on 65 in the northbound side at Talbot's Corner, you've got an accident at I-24. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
6:06 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Appreciate you being here. There is a lot going on, including there is a big splinter now, and we've been really all watching this in real time, where you have this war now going on with Marjorie Taylor Greene, Thomas Massie, Rand Paul, and Donald Trump. And it seems like you've got, of course, traditional MAGA, and then you've got America First. These are, America First seems to be a splintering, if you will, of MAGA. And so if you've been paying attention and on YouTube, if you're watching us on YouTube this morning, we actually have a Daily Dan poll this morning. Are you Team Trump and MAGA traditionally? Or are you now Team Marjorie Taylor Greene, Thomas Massie, Rand Paul, where it is America First? Because there is a split that is now happening within the MAGA movement. And most people, when we put up this poll at 5 o'clock, they were Team Trump. You've got Marjorie Taylor Greene, again, literally everywhere this weekend going after Donald Trump. And she actually apologized. She actually apologized seemingly for her behavior, if you will, over the last several years. We're going to get into all of that. But so far, what are people saying on the Daily Dan poll? How did we frame the question, and what are people saying?
Simply put, Team DJT or MTG. And 74% of poll takers would say Team DJT.
All right, so clearly the audience is not, folks listening to Nashville's Morning News, not really splintered. I mean, a lot of people still very much Team Donald Trump. I get it. I still consider here's my problem, is that I'm on Team both. You know what I mean? Like, I am pro-Israel. Well, let's go through this very quickly, the two sides, right? If you are America First, you are not all in on Israel. You want the Epstein files released. You do not want 600,000 Chinese students, and you feel like there's no need to import talent. So that is if you are America First. Now, if you're Donald Trump and MAGA, you remain pro-Israel. The messaging has been somewhat mixed on Epstein, although this morning, over the weekend, Donald Trump posted, "Release the darn Epstein files. Please get it over with and let's move on." And by the way, he has said that many times. He's also, of course, Donald Trump famously last week, yes to 600,000 Chinese students being imported into our country. Terrible, terrible take. And also, the president feels like America needs to import talent coming in from other countries. So there is a clear, a clear difference between those two sides. And so I think that there is a very serious splintering. And by the way, if you've only got, what's the number for Marjorie Taylor Greene on our Daily Dan poll?
24%.
So 24% of listeners to WTN are pro Marjorie Taylor Greene. I would say that a year ago, there's no way that would have happened. So I'm just telling you that there have been people that are gravitating away from President Trump and ultimately siding with Marjorie Taylor Greene. So, and this whole release of the Epstein files, I believe that Donald Trump wants the Epstein files released. I think that he does want to get it over with. He wants to focus on the economy. This is what Donald Trump said over the weekend.
Fake news like you're a terrible reporter, and fake news like you, they just keep bringing that up to deflect from the tremendous success of the Trump administration. So a guy like Massie, his poll numbers are showing he's at 6% approval rating right now. And we call him Rand Paul Jr. because he never votes for the Republican Party. So they're using Jeffrey Epstein as a deflection from the tremendous success that we're having as a party.
I mean, listen, we are in the midst of a lot of successful narratives. The president has had a lot of positives, a lot of wins over the last, he's not even been in office a year yet, folks. So the president posting this over the weekend, I believe this was on Sunday. As I said on Friday night aboard Air Force One to the fake news media, House Republicans should vote to release the Epstein files, and that is going to happen tomorrow, it would appear, because we have nothing to hide, the president says, and it is time to move on from this Democrat hoax perpetrated by the radical left lunatics in order to deflect from the great success of the Republican Party, including our recent victory on the Democrat shutdown. President Trump continuing to say the Department of Justice has already turned over tens of thousands of pages to the public on Epstein and are now, and this was news over the weekend, now looking at various Democrat operatives like Bill Clinton and Reid Hoffman and Larry Summers, et cetera, and their relationship to Epstein. And the House Oversight Committee can have whatever they are entitled to. President Trump ending that social media post with all capital letters, "I don't care." And I think that's a great narrative. I think that is something really good, positive for the president to say, because here's the deal. He does have a lot of good things to talk about. In that lengthy Truth Social post, the president did emphasize his wins and what is next. He says, all I do care about is that Republicans get back on point, which is the economy, affordability, where he says we are winning big. Our victory on reducing inflation from the highest level in history to practically nothing, bringing down prices for the American people, delivering historic tax cuts, gaining trillions of dollars of investment into America, a record, the rebuilding of our military, securing our border, deporting criminal illegal aliens, ending men in women's sports, stopping transgender for everyone, and so much more. That's what the president said on Truth Social. He says nobody cared about Jeffrey Epstein when he was alive. If the Democrats had anything, they would have released it before our landslide election victory. Some members, he says, in air quotes, of the Republican Party are being used, and we can't let that happen. Let's start talking about the Republican Party's record-setting achievements and not fall into the Epstein trap, which is actually a curse on the Democrats, not us. Make America great again. And listen, I love that message. I love that message from Donald Trump because he has done a lot of good things. And I do admit there is some work that needs to be done. But focus on affordability. It is coming up on 6:15. Time to check the roads on WTN. It's 6:15, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. The Super Text line is open, 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN. As far as your weather goes, by the way, pleasant with times of clouds and sun. High of 67, going to feel like 68. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. So the president has said before about releasing the Epstein files. Just release them already. I mean, to me, this is a no-brainer. And every time they try to get him with a new batch, the Democrats with a new batch, it ends up being positive for Donald Trump. Again, those released emails last week proved several things. Remember, it was Epstein emailing a New York Times reporter about how he wanted to team up with them to try and take down President Trump. All right, so it proves that even the New York Times and Jeffrey Epstein could not come up with any evidence that Donald Trump did anything untoward with these young girls. As I said in the 5 o'clock hour, and I've probably said it before, there's more evidence that Donald Trump did nothing wrong than evidence that Donald Trump did anything wrong. Epstein also said that Donald Trump was in a room with a bunch of bikini-clad girls, and he had the photos to prove it. It's Florida. Get over it. They also had a redacted victim's name, and that victim was Virginia Giuffre. So why did they redact her name when they said that Donald Trump was said to be in a room with this victim, Virginia Giuffre? Well, the reason the Democrats redacted it is because they know that Virginia Giuffre has said that Donald Trump did do nothing wrong, that Trump didn't do anything wrong. That's why they had actually redacted that name. So every time the Democrats try to get something on Donald Trump related to Epstein, it does just blow up in their face. By the way, did you see this over the weekend? This is another reminder. Over the weekend, this blew up. That Jeffrey Epstein was texting with a Democrat in Congress just before she was going to question Michael Cohen. Remember all that? The Donald Trump fixer who turned a dime on Donald Trump, dropped the dime on the president, turned against him, and said all kinds of things about the president. So apparently Jeffrey Epstein was texting this Democrat in Congress a bunch of questions. So Cohen is getting ready to testify in front of Congress. And this woman, this congresswoman, her name is Stacey Plaskett. She's out of the U.S. Virgin Islands. She's known as a non-voting delegate. But they found the communication in this trove of 20,000 emails and documents that were put out. And they found the evidence that Epstein was texting with this Democrat, Stacey Plaskett, as she was getting ready to question Michael Cohen. And by the way, at the time of this, dude was a known sex offender. So you've got a member of Congress communicating with a known sex offender as she is getting ready to question Michael Cohen, Donald Trump's former fixer. Just, I mean, incredible. So as all of this is going on, right, Marjorie Taylor Greene over the weekend was on all the shows. Now, you heard me mention the president said that he advised her not to run for the Senate or the governorship. One of the things, because that's one of the things that President Trump has been saying, is that she's mad at me because I told her not to run for the Senate or not to run for the governorship for the state of Georgia. Dana Bash said this to Marjorie Taylor Greene.
The president said the reason that you have been critical of him is not necessarily Epstein, but because he pushed you not to run for the Senate or for governor in Georgia. How and when did he do that?
Well, that is absolutely not true. Actually, I never had a conversation at all with the president about running for Senate or running for Georgia. And those were decisions I came to on my own, that I don't want to have anything to do with the Senate. I think the past 2 months of the government shutdown should have shown America exactly why I would never want to be there. I think it's a very broken institution that serves the uniparty and doesn't serve the American people and how they vote. Mm-hmm. And I decided that I didn't want to run for governor this cycle either. I very much want to do the job that I'm in. Everyone else says I'm running for something, but all I want to do is serve Georgia's 14th district. And I'm very grateful for that opportunity.
All right. So she actually did tell the Atlanta Journal-Constitution that she was considering a run. She also told The Guardian that she was considering a run. Now, this was back months ago, but she did tell various media outlets that she was going to run for or considering a run for the Senate or the governorship. And I would find it hard to believe, and I don't know about you, friends, but I would find it hard to believe that she would not consider a run without talking to Donald Trump, because obviously she would be asking for his endorsement. So you have Trump saying that she did have a discussion with him. Heck, he even came out back then and said that he would fully endorse Marjorie Taylor Greene if she ran for the Senate. So whatever. Trump says it happened. She says it didn't.
So he said it pretty explicitly. Are you saying he's lying, or did he at least get that message to somebody on your political team instead?
I'm not sure. But I don't. That is untrue what he said. I don't know if he's being fed wrong information. I honestly have no idea in that area, but it is absolutely factually not true. Nor have I called him, and White House logs would prove that. His own cell phone records would prove it. I have not been calling the president, but I did post messages that I had sent to him, and that was to, like, protect, get involved. This is important. The American people want the Epstein files released.
Well, that is most certainly true. The American people, I think by and large, they do want the Epstein files responsibly released. And that is the big difference between what the Republicans want to do and what the Democrats want to do. And by the way, Marjorie Taylor Greene over the weekend, and if this doesn't tell you that she's running for something, then I don't think you're paying attention. She apologized for taking part in toxic politics. We'll talk about that and a whole lot more straight ahead. It is 6:21. By the way, I do like that President Trump is now actually focusing on the economy and affordability. And basically what the president has been saying is, listen, what we need to do is we need to focus on the cost of groceries. I love that. So we'll continue to talk about that as well. Scott Bessent, Treasury Secretary, man, he was all over the place this weekend. He had a lot of great things to say. It is 6:22. Jones got the news. Speaking of a lot of great things to say, Jones got the news at 6:30. Hey, Joan.
Bizarre story for you. How a meat thermometer shut down a Walmart store over the weekend. Yep, I'll explain at 6:30. Coming up here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
You know, that's pretty good. Hand on demand. You like that, Joan?
Oh, yeah, I do like that.
Hand on demand. What do we call my podcast? You want to call like Dan All Day?
Dan All Day? Oh.
Dan All Day.
Yeah, okay.
You can catch me 5 to 9 every single morning, and then you can catch me all day long. We rerun the show. It's up on the podcast and everything else. And so wherever you want to find me, you can. Either on YouTube, and a lot of people watch the show after the program is over. They just go to YouTube and rewind, if you will, the 5 o'clock hour, one of my favorite hours, as a matter of fact. And you got the podcast, you got the videos, whatever. So check us out, 997WTN.com. Dan Mandis here, talking about my friends at the Glock store. Now, for the last couple of weeks, you've heard me talk about booking your holiday party at the Glock store. Well, now I'm inviting you to one. Now, this year, Glock Store is going to blow the doors off of every other Black Friday sale that you've ever been to. As a matter of fact, it's going to be more like a party than a sale. Now, the doors, they're going to open up at the normal time on Black Friday, 9 a.m., but that is the last normal thing about it. The details are just now coming together, but if I had to guess, I'm thinking huge discounts on everything, including Glocks and the latest and greatest in performance products. I'm also thinking about some really great food trucks, as always, at the Glock store. And yes, knowing the Glock store as I do, I have no doubts there's going to be more than a few great giveaways as well. Valuable products you can win just by being there. So check them out. It is the massive Black Friday sale, special party, whatever you want to call it, going on at the Glock store on Black Friday. The Glock store, minutes from the airport and worth the drive from anywhere, especially on Black Friday. Dan Mandis here for Loan Pronto. Friends, what if you could pull up to $500,000 in cash out of your home's equity and drop your mortgage rate to 4.99% APR? That's right, 4.99% APR. Now, right now, at Loan Pronto, you can. They've got the lowest rates in 3 years going on right now. And with Loan Pronto's rapid equity loan, you can get your cash in as little as 3 days. Hundreds of thousands of dollars in 3 days. You can pay off all those high-interest credit cards and even skip your next 2 house payments. Now, one client through Loan Pronto just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours, paid off their debt, paid off a couple of car loans as well, and saved $2,100 every single month. Now, We like to call that one call life changed. How about you? 615-499-5780. Loan Pronto, they are A-plus rated with the Better Business Bureau and nearly 2,500 five-star Google reviews. 615-499-5780 and see how much cash you can get today with Loan Pronto. Find them online, loanpronto.com. Loanpronto.com, equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781. On approved credit, visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org. 628 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Welcome on in to Nashville's Morning News. We've got news with Joan Jones coming up on Super Talk 99.7. All right, so this is the audio that a lot of people were playing over the weekend. It is Marjorie Taylor Greene apologizing for taking part in toxic politics. Now, I'm trying to figure out, when I saw this, is she talking about like what she's doing right now? Because what she's doing right now is kind of toxic, to be perfectly honest. Or is it what she's done before when she was considered more of an ally to Donald Trump?
I would like to say humbly, I'm sorry for taking part in the toxic politics. It's very bad for our country. And it's been something I've thought about a lot, especially since Charlie Kirk was assassinated, is that I'm only responsible for myself and my own words and actions. And I am committed, and I've been working on this a lot lately, to put down the knives in politics. I really just want to see people be kind to one another. And we need to figure out a new path forward that is focused on the American people, because as Americans, no matter what side of the aisle we're on, we have far more in common than we have differences. Yeah. And we need to be able to respect each other with our disagreements.
I don't know if she's talking to Republicans or Democrats or who she's talking to. But do you think that sounds like, Joan, just give me a yes or no. Maybe we'll explore this on the other side. Do we have more in common than we do differences at this point, Democrats and Republicans?
I'd say absolutely not.
I think she's full of crap.
Yeah.
Like, I think that that is a very moderate thing to say when you're trying to moderate your image. But I think that and it's interesting, she's talking about how she has been taking part in toxic politics. If that's her deal and she wants to apologize for that, go right on ahead. But she's talking about putting down the knives. Do you know what happens when you put down the knives? You get stabbed.
And
yes. And the Democrats, it's all fine, well, and good that Marjorie Taylor Greene is wanting to put down the knives, but the Democrats are not going to put down their knives. And so you can buddy up to the Democrats all you want. You can try to moderate all you want. But if you want to apologize for it, you've done, that's all fine. But nobody on the left is apologizing. As a matter of fact, they're doing just the opposite. They are doubling and tripling down on the attacks on our side. And that is why, as much as I agree with some of the things that Marjorie Taylor Greene is saying, I can't stand by and say, oh, yeah, apologizing for our behavior is a great thing. The other side is not apologizing, and the other side is not going to put their knives down. It is 6:31 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. It is now 6:31. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. The Walmart store in Clarksville was evacuated yesterday because of a suspicious-looking package.
Well, Clarksville police say it looked like an explosive device. After clearing out the store, police then realized it was a temperature probe, and customers were then allowed to come back indoors.
Yeah, meat thermometer caused the evacuation of an entire store. Channel 4's Holly Thompson reporting there. Also, in Lawrence County yesterday, a man was rescued after being pinned in what appeared to be a land-clearing piece of machinery. This happened in Gandy when a tree stump became lodged in the cage in which the operator sits. The man was miraculously rescued with only minor injuries. He credits God for allowing him to escape alive. But a sad story out of Overton County. A 2- and a 7-year-old were killed in a house fire Saturday near downtown Livingston. That fire destroyed the home of a longtime foster mother. The community has come together to help them, including a funeral home now offering free services for one of the burials. Also, neighbors have organized a meal train for the family. TBI is investigating the cause of that fire. The sports gambling scandal is apparently growing.
Weeks after sweeping federal indictments involving a player and 2 current and former NBA coaches, a spokesperson for the league saying, quote, a number of different individuals and organizations were asked to preserve documents and records.
ABC's Olivia Rubin there. The NFL, in a memo obtained by ABC News, said it's working with lawmakers to curb prop betting, which are bets based solely on player performance. That is the latest news.
Now,
Traffic.
Now,
Yes.
work with me on this.
Okay.
Like, we live in Nashville.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it insider betting if we already know and bet on the Titans losing? Because we live in Nashville. We follow the Titans. We know they're going to lose.
Right.
So is that like inside? No, probably not.
Probably not.
I'm just asking a question.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Well,
Very good. Move
Okay.
Go on. Oh, you're doing your IQ.
yeah.
All right, so.
Traffic and weather next. There you go.
All right. Thank you, Joan. It is 6:33 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Dan Mandis here from Mark Spain Real Estate. Sell your home with Mark Spain Real Estate. Get the strongest cash offer in the industry. You'll save time, make the most money, and eliminate all that hassle. Now, I have always recommended Mark Spain Real Estate to my friends here in Nashville because I know that I can trust that they are going to sell your home hassle-free and with a strong all-cash offer. As a matter of fact, with Mark Spain Real Estate, they've been helping homeowners sell their homes for nearly 30 years, and they have served over 72,000 satisfied clients. Mark Spain Real Estate sells more than 38 homes every single day, making them the most experienced real estate team in America. You can trust them to sell your home hassle-free, and yes, with the strongest cash offer in the industry. Find them online anytime at markspain.com or call them 855-299-SOLD, 855-299-SOLD, markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today. That's markspain.com and start packing. Dan Mandis here, and want to tell you about my friends at Vision for Life. Now, listen, you've heard me talk about my cataract surgery at Vision for Life. And again, it has been life-changing. I didn't even realize how much my vision was holding me back until I had clear sight again, reading small print. Not a problem these days, driving at night. No more halos or blurry lights. Watching TV, working, even just being outside. Colors are brighter, details are sharper, and I feel more confident in everything that I do. Now, one of the things I didn't notice how much I was compensating before with my eyesight. I just thought that I was getting older, squinting, adjusting, avoiding things that I used to enjoy. Now I feel like I've got a new lease on life, and my only regret is not doing it sooner with Vision for Life and Dr. Jeff Horn. So you want to check him out? You want to improve your vision? 615-436-2020. Call them, 615-436-2020. Find them online anytime at visionforlife.com, visionforlife.com.
Couple of accidents now. 40 westbound and south side at Fessler's Lane. You've got a crash still in the right lane this morning. Also, 24 eastbound in Glencliff at the Antioch Pike overpass. There is a semi-truck on fire there, and 3 right lanes are blocked by it. And traffic is stop and go from exit 53 up to that spot this morning. That's going to cause a big delay. Murfreesboro Pike at B&A. The westbound lanes at McGavick Pike, there's a crash involving injuries. Also in Antioch, Hobson Pike at Murfreesboro Pike. That's the scene of a crash as well. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.639, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. We all love Scott Jennings, right?
Oh, yeah.
So he chimed in, and then coming up, I think Trump is doing the right thing where he is now pivoted, and he really is focused on the economy, getting the message out and so forth. But one of the things that happened over the weekend, of course, with all eyes on Marjorie Taylor Greene, you had Scott Jennings, and clearly he is Team Trump on this. And he pointed out as Marjorie Taylor Greene is out there saying that, number one, her life is in danger. Donald Trump has called her a traitor. So one of the things that she is saying, or Donald Trump is saying, is Marjorie Taylor Greene has never really been the same since I told her not to run for the Senate or not to run for the governorship for the state of Georgia. And so you've got Scott Jennings. It sounds like he's got the real story. And that is that all Donald Trump did was send her some inside polling.
Technically true, based on what I've heard and what I know, that he didn't tell her not to run. But what she didn't say was that he sent her a poll privately, discreetly, and it had information in it. And it showed her down 20 points to John Ossoff.
Yep.
And so in politics, when you want to send a message to someone that you like or that has been an ally, you don't embarrass them publicly. You privately send them information and show them what the reality is. And so I think it's true that he didn't tell her not to run, but it's also true that he did her a big favor, which is to show her information that a candidacy statewide in Georgia for her would have been a disaster.
Which is why she may now be trying to moderate her image and moderate her stances, because she was, according to, and a couple of super texters pointed out, make sure you get to the story of the polling. I did. It's all part of my presentation this morning. So we'll have to see ultimately what happens. And if she's going to run for the Senate, if she's going to run, although she did say that she has no interest in running for the Senate, even though she has said a number of different times that she does want to run for the Senate. But bottom line is, we're going to continue to talk about that. Some other stories real quick, just so you know where I'm going. I've got so much this morning. The president, Venezuela, is a big topic of conversation this morning. We're going to continue to talk about that as well. We had some fun earlier in the broadcast with Fox News. They had a guy on talking about how Trump derangement syndrome is actually a syndrome. As a matter of fact, what he said was Trump derangement syndrome is the defining pathology of our time. We'll talk about that again as the morning continues to unfold. The president, though, I like what he's doing. He is pivoting away from tariffs on certain items. Waking up this morning and over the weekend, President Trump, I think it was on Friday, announcing that he was going to lift the tariffs on some products like coffee and beef and some other things as well. And I think that that is one of the things that the president is doing to pivot away from the tariffs. But one of the things that he's saying is, listen, he's not admitting defeat on the tariffs. You got some people that are trying to make it out like that. He's not admitting defeat on the tariffs. What he's saying is that we are coming close to or negotiating great deals with these various countries. And so there really is no need to have tariffs at such a high level if we're negotiating these trade deals. That was the whole point of the tariffs. So some people are saying, oh, Trump is, lost the plot on the tariffs. He's now clawing the tariffs back because he sees what it's doing to the economy. I would look at it differently. I would say, and I take the president at his word, when he says we're negotiating great deals. So we are going to lower those tariffs for those countries. Now, the president was on with Maria Bartiromo over the weekend talking about the economy.
Investing in America, $20 trillion. No country's ever done anywhere even near that, like a fraction of that. Biden did less than $1 trillion in 4 years. I did 20 trillion. We're going to do over 17 trillion in 8 months. By the time we end, we could do over $20 trillion. There's never, in China, no matter where you go, there's never been anything like it. We are building up something that's unbelievable. And a big part of that are the tariffs, because they don't want to have to pay the tariffs, because it's so unsustainable that they come and build the pharmaceuticals and the chips and all of the things. They're coming into the United States and they're building them. It's a miracle what's happening. We are building the greatest country in the world, economically, greater than we've ever been before.
So that is President Trump with Maria Bartiromo. And there is no doubt that foreign investment has improved over the last 10 months. And by the way, Trump teases more price reductions. That is one of the stories on CNN. That is good. I will say this about Trump. As bullheaded as people claim that he is, I think that Donald Trump is reading the tea leaves. I do. I think that he's reading the tea leaves and he sees what the American people are worried about and he's pivoting. And I think that is a good thing. It is 6:45. Time to check the roads on WTN.
Southside 40 westbound at Fessler's Lane. Accident blocks the right lane. Glencliff 24 eastbound at the Antioch Pike overpass. We've got a tractor trailer fire. 3 right lanes are closed. Stop traffic from 440. And at VNA, Murfreesboro Pike across. I'm Christy O'Brien.
Okay, 6:45. It certainly is Monday out on the roadways. And right now, as far as your weather goes, going to be pleasant today with times of clouds and sun. High of 67. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News. So, yes, foreign investment is up, has improved over the last 10 months. That $20 billion, by the way, that President Trump cited, that is both actual investments thus far and pledged investments as well. We talked about this earlier, the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Japan, South Korea, among other nations. And of course, companies have pledged all of this investing in America, plants and manufacturing and so forth. That is a good thing. Now, I speak about real wages often. I haven't done it as much lately, but it looks like I should start. Because in what are real wages? Real wages, the earnings of Americans adjusted for inflation. And in America, apparently, real wages are up. Under Joe Biden, they were down a lot, but real wages are up under Donald Trump, thanks to all of that inflation. With Donald Trump, inflation has cooled as far as when we had inflation under Joe Biden. It was horrible. So when you start talking about real wages and how is your paycheck, how is that doing under the inflationary weight of a Joe Biden versus a Donald Trump? Gas and eggs, of course, we've spoken about that, down. Don't forget that President Trump's tax cuts are going into effect next year. So Peter Doocy came out swinging over the weekend on inflation, breaking down both Donald Trump's first year and now in his second term, and where Joe Biden was at this point in his presidency, on who was better on inflation. Listen closely.
You look at overall inflation for the first year of Trump versus Biden. Biden, overall inflation was up 4.3%, higher than Trump, just up 1.6%. Groceries under Biden in that time, up 3.8%, with Trump up 1.3%. And then when it comes to gas, this is crazy. Biden up 24.4%, with Trump it is actually down 5.4%. That is where the biggest difference is. And we heard from the HUD Secretary, Scott Turner, this afternoon. They are racing to cut red tape for construction projects because the belief among officials here is that if housing is the number one place where people are getting killed when it comes to affordability, if people are cutting red tape and able to build more houses and apartments, then the prices will come down. Pretty basic supply and demand.
I love what Peter Doocy says. And let me just reiterate those numbers, because I think that those numbers are important. Cumulative change in pricing under Biden and Trump 2.0. So under Biden, you had overall inflation that first year 4.30% up. Under Trump, just 1.60%. Groceries, 3.80%. Trump, 1.30% under groceries. And gasoline, 24.40% for Joe Biden, and under Donald Trump, down 5.40%. In other words, Trump has some good talking points. We talked about real wages and how real wages are better under Donald Trump than they were under Joe Biden. So there are things that are going on here that are really important. And remember how successful Donald Trump was at cutting red tape and deregulation. So you just heard Peter Doocy talk about how they're going to do whatever they can to try and cut that red tape when it comes to building homes and so forth. And that is important because home affordability, that is a big part of the American dream. Is it not? Yes, Dan. Yes, it is. So if Trump can do that same thing, if Trump can cut that red tape and do whatever he can do to get more homes built, that's what Trump wants to do. Scott Turner is President Trump's Housing and Urban Development Secretary. He talked about this over the weekend.
We have to get with local leaders, mayors, economic development, planning and zoning, and take a real inventory, to your point, of how is the regulatory environment crippling and literally shackling development and building in our said communities across America. And every community is different. So we have to take an inventory. What is the regulatory environment? How is it impacting building? And then make the healthy, hard decisions to unleash innovative building and creativity, because we have builders and developers in our country that are ready to build, that have great strategies, great plans, and capital has to be easier to obtain. Regulatory environment has to come down. And so I think a combination of those will help us to spur development of affordable housing.
So that is Scott Turner. And there are a number of conflicting issues here, of course, when it comes to like those big apartment complexes or lower income type housing. Nobody wants these in their neighborhood, right? NIMBY. Nobody wants this in their backyard. They just don't. There is plenty of space, I would think, because I've been around the country a time or two. Most major cities have like old warehouses that need to be torn down. Most major cities have areas where it is ripe for development. So that is a place to put those new apartments, that low-income housing, whatever. There's also places that are further out where you could also put these kinds of things. You tear down, again, these old warehouses, you would be amazed at the room that you can find. You have, of course, with the federal government, you want to build, and there's a lot of state issues too, state regulations. Lord, friends, look at California. But you have the environmental issues that have to be cleared. You have all kinds of things like in these left-leaning cities, the regulations, they can be incredibly burdensome. You start talking about all of the environmental issues as well. And so if they can manage and work with local regulators as well, work with local states, work with cities to find more places to build homes, I think that would clearly be a good thing. And if we learned anything from Donald Trump in that first administration, it was that, yes, he is good, very good at cutting that red tape and cutting all of that burdensome regulation. If he can do that, that would be great for the housing market, and people would be able to find more homes. As Scott Bessent has said, and also J.D. Vance, they're looking forward to finding the ability to build 5 million homes. It is 6:52 on Nashville's Morning News. On Super Talk 99.7, Joan's got the news coming up at 7 o'clock. Hey, Joan.
A new surge of National Guardsmen coming to Memphis. We'll tell you why coming up here at 7 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Weekdays 3 to 7 and streaming on the Super Talk 99.7 WTN app.
Dan Mattis here, talking about the housing issues, the affordable housing issues that we have here in this country. Some people say Tennessee has a housing shortage. If you're among those, and you're looking for a place to live, sometimes what you can do, you can find a piece of land, you can buy that land, and you can put what we love to call barn dominiums on that land. Courtesy of my friends at Stoltzco, it is a great alternative. Now, I know that with Stoltzco, they do build those pole barns and barn dominiums. And, you can build these pole barns and they can really serve as anything you want. They can serve as a garage, as an event space, as an equestrian building. And yes, those barn dominiums, you can live in these pole barns, find the perfect piece of land, and you can put up the perfect home for you, courtesy of Stoltzco. And by the way, these days at Stoltzco, they're now offering you turnkey options. Now, that means that they handle not only the design, not only the construction, but also the amazing finishing touches as well. You turn the key and you are home thanks to Stoltzco. Now, your new pole barn from Stoltzco, it can be used for anything you want. Call them. Tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out. 615-622-5992, 615-622-5992. You can also find them on Instagram or Facebook to see examples of their incredible work around Middle Tennessee. Stoltzco, Stoltzco.com. That is Stoltzco.com. .658 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Welcome on in. It is Monday, November 17th. Hope you're doing well. And we're talking about, prices, and it does seem like the Trump administration understands that they need to pivot. Need some video here. They need to pivot and pivot quickly. And it does appear that that is what the president is doing. They asked him about this over the weekend as he was either getting on or getting off Air Force One.
We are correcting it. We have strong borders now. We have a great economy. The prices are coming down. The Democrats like to use the word affordability, but their affordability was terrible. The problem with the Democrats, they lie. They do it so well. They talk about affordability, but I'm the one that's getting the prices down. As an example, they had the highest inflation in the history of our country.
True.
I have it down now to a normal level, and it's going down further. Thank you very much, everyone.
All right, so that is President Trump, and I like what he's saying, and I do appreciate what it seems to me is a clear course correction over the weekend. Coming up, if you're feeling bad about the economy, I totally get it. I'm right there with you. But Scott Bessent, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, has a reminder of what is coming up in 2026, and it supports something that I said last week. So, of course, I'm going to play it. Also, real quick, if you want to go to YouTube, watch us on YouTube. Take the Daily Dan poll. The Daily Dan poll this morning is
Team DJT or MTG, polling at 78% DJT.
All right, very good. Thank you, Sam. And Joan Jones has the news coming up next. It is Nashville's Morning News for a Monday. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning now, 7 o'clock. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Got a heads up for drivers this morning on 24, the eastbound side. We still have 3 lanes blocked off. The right lanes are blocked off on 24 eastbound at the Antioch Pike overpass. That's because of a semi-truck that's on fire there. And it looks like folks on the other side of the highway are also watching what's happening. So a giant slowdown in the Antioch Pike overpass area on both sides of I-24 right now. In the news in Memphis, a surge of National Guardsmen expected this week with up to 210 more troops. They'll join the other federal and state police forces in a continued crackdown on violent crime there. So far, that task force says they're making a big difference. More than 2,300 arrests have been made. More than 1,000 warrants have been cleared, and 101 missing children have been located. Meantime, in Charlotte, North Carolina, U.S. immigration agents have begun making arrests there, and they were met with these folks. Yet those people waving foreign flags. They were blocking the road outside of a DHS facility in that area. A member of the Metro Nashville Police Department has died unexpectedly. Here's WSMV4.
Metro Police announced Commander Scott Bird has died, and police say Bird suffered a heart attack at his home on Monday while preparing to come into work.
Bird was a 25-year police department veteran who oversaw SWAT, bomb squad, emergency contingency, and other operations. The Tennessee man charged with killing 4 members of his girlfriend's family and kidnapping a baby is scheduled to make his first court appearance today. Austin Drummond will appear before a judge in Lake County for his arraignment. He's already pleaded not guilty in a lower court case before a judge ruled that there was enough evidence for this case to proceed to a grand jury. Now, prosecutors have said they will seek the death penalty if Drummond is convicted of first-degree murder. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
Stock futures overnight were little changed after a tumultuous week for investors. After closing above 48,000 Tuesday, the Dow Jones on Friday fell 300 points to finish the week at 47,147. The Nasdaq posted a slight gain Friday. The S&P was flat. The flight restrictions imposed by the FAA during the government shutdown have all been lifted this morning. Now the agency is faced with a shortage of air traffic controllers that was building long before the congressional budget impasse. 6 months before they don their caps and gowns, graduating high school and college seniors are staring down the barrel of the worst job market in at least 5 years. The Wall Street Journal says more employers are using AI to do entry-level tasks. The third installment in the Now You See Me, Now You Don't franchise topped the box office over the weekend, pulling in $21.3 million. That beat out the big-budget action thriller, The Running Man. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
And we've got stock futures mixed right now. Dow futures minus 26, and NASDAQ futures are up 25. S&P futures are up just a fraction. That's the latest news. We've got your traffic and weather ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Okay, so right now on 24, the eastbound lanes, it's looks like it's getting a little better. Just one right lane is blocked off. 24 eastbound at the Antioch Pike overpass. That was from that earlier truck fire, but traffic is jammed up both directions up to that spot this morning. It looks like folks are just taking a look at what's happening on the other side of the roadway. 24 west in Antioch at Hickory Hollow Parkway. That's the scene of an accident as well. You've got a crash in Murfreesboro. Make that out of BNA on Murfreesboro Pike westbound at McGavock Pike. And then just one more. It's a crash in Hendersonville on West Main Street, southbound side before Vietnam Veterans Boulevard. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.06 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends. How are you? Yes, indeed. Joan Jones is back. Sam Weatherford producing, and I am your humble host. So checking out the YouTube chat, a lot of people, then I'm going to get to some great audio from Scott Bessent, some video as well. But the YouTube chat says this. It is true that we are really divided. That is true. I think the reason Donald Trump is moving so fast on everything is because he knows he only has 4 years and he doesn't have time to fight with everyone about it. You are absolutely correct. Another one, a snarkista. Whomever is advising Donald Trump, Susie Wiles, is not doing a good job, IMO, in my opinion. That is true. A lot of people, knives are out, man, for Susie Wiles. Another one, this is Danny, says, I painted Marjorie Taylor Greene couldn't probably save her butt if she just acted right and try not to be somebody, which is what Marjorie Taylor Greene is trying to do. So there's a lot going on the YouTube chat. If you want to check it out, either right now, you may, or after the show. We're calling it Dan All Day. I believe that is what we've decided to do. So if you want to find me 5 to 9, here I am. You want to find me on YouTube after the show. You can watch it anytime you want. You can also listen to any number of podcasts, audio on demand. All of that is all online. Check out all the links on our website, and that is 997wtn.com. Okay. Scott Bessent, a lot of people talking about the economy, a lot of people talking about, as we should, your economy. And so one of the things is the economy is really taken center stage now. One of the things that people have got to remember is that we've got a lot of really positive things that are coming up in 2026. We really do. I mean, I want you to think about the big, beautiful bill. And remember, within the big, beautiful bill, what do we have going on? Oh, that's right. We've got the tax breaks and a lot of other stuff as well. And so President Trump had a lot to say about not only the big, beautiful bill, but a lot of other things that are going on within our economy. And I got to tell you that it is really easy. And this is what the Democrats are doing. The Democrats are basically crapping on Donald Trump and doing whatever they can to say that the man is doing a terrible job. And I'm just here to tell you that I don't believe that the president is doing a terrible job. I think that he's actually doing a good job. I think that there's things that he needs to do better. There's a lot of things that the president does need to do better. And I think that he is working on that. In the previous hour, we were talking about how when you compare Donald Trump and 2.0 first year to the first year of Joe Biden, you've got President Trump that is doing far, far better than President Biden did. So I think there's a lot going on. I want to play this piece of audio from Scott Bessent really quickly. And you people watching on Super Talk TV are seeing me queue up this video of Scott Bessent, and he's talking to Maria Bartiromo, and he's talking about good things that are coming within the economy. Listen to this.
The real thing that is going to happen that is going to give Americans real purchasing power increases. It's going to be through growth. We passed the one big, beautiful bill. I am also the IRS commissioner, and I can see that working Americans, thanks to the president living up to his campaign promises, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, deductibility of auto loans. If you buy an American car, there are going to be substantial refunds in the first quarter of 26. Working Americans will change their withholdings, and they will get a bump up in their real incomes.
All right, so that is Scott Bessent, and he is right. And that's why he is saying we could see massive growth in the first 2 quarters of 2026. And so, they figured out with all of this that the average American will be able to get $3,752 in federal tax savings per taxpayer when it comes to the big, beautiful bill and all of these additional tax breaks. Because remember what they did. Well, remember what the big, beautiful bill did. It not only extended the Trump tax cuts, but he also added a lot of cuts on top of the previous Trump tax cuts. So you look at all the benefits, and Scott Bessent is going to talk about no tax on tips and a lot of the things that the president has done. But the American Tax Foundation, other tax foundations and tax organizations have said as well that the American people will be saving thousands of dollars under the new Trump economy when in 2026 we start under the new tax program, I guess is what you would say, the new tax brackets. Thank you. You look at all the tax benefits in the big, beautiful bill. You make those tax changes after 2026. You're going to see more money in your paycheck. Here's more from Scott Bessent.
So I would expect in the first 2 quarters, we are going to see the inflation curve bend down and the real income curve substantially accelerate. And when those two lines cross, Americans are going to feel it. But Maria, I will tell you what we're not going to do. What we're not going to do is tell the American people that they don't know how they're feeling, which is what the Biden administration did. They said it was a vibe session. You don't know how good you have it. And we are working every day to get these prices down.
So that is Scott Bessent. And it makes a lot of sense. There are good things on the horizon. And part of the full court press here is that Trump did not have a great week last week. He just didn't. And I'm saying that as a guy who is a supporter of Donald Trump. But, I mean, you saw this huge divide between America First and Donald Trump's MAGA movement. And so, and I've been talking about this off and on this morning about how you have now the MAGA movement has now splintered into two different groups. America First, which seems to be led by Marjorie Taylor Greene, Thomas Massey. You got your Rand Paul in there as well. And America First means that you're not all in on Israel. You are all in on releasing the Epstein files. You don't want 600,000 Chinese students invading our country. And you don't feel like there's any need to import talent. Now, Donald Trump, of course, the leader of the MAGA movement, he is pro-Israel. But I think Trump is pro-Israel up to a point. I'm not going to say that Donald Trump is all in no matter what. I think that he is in on supporting Israel as a way to prevent war. But I think that he has given Benjamin Netanyahu a lot to think about, if you know what I mean. So he's not just all in, Benjamin Netanyahu, whatever you need. No. Trump has been talking to Netanyahu all this time about ending this war. But there is the Israel conversation. The MAGA movement, I believe, is mixed on Epstein. I'm all for releasing the Epstein files. There's going to be a vote within the House of Representatives tomorrow on releasing the Epstein files. But I think that there are some people, I think that they ought to be released responsibly, bottom line. But as far as the MAGA movement, at least under Donald Trump, there are a lot of people that are, I guess, saying yes to 600,000 Chinese students being imported into our country. And MAGA does believe that America needs to import talent. So there's just some differences. But see, even if you are 100% pro-Trump, I think that you may have some mixed emotions on the 600,000 Chinese students coming in and also the America needing to import talent. I think that even if you are just really supportive of Donald Trump, you disagree with the president on that. So there's a lot here. And so now the shift in the focus is beginning with President Donald Trump. He does realize that he's got some work to do on the economy. He is calling for the release of the Epstein files. He wants to forget about the distractions of Marjorie Taylor Greene. He wants to forget about all of the palace intrigue that is going on right now, and instead win the hearts of minds of Americans through their wallets. And I think that's the best thing. I'm beginning to really more and more realize that the elections of a couple of weeks ago where the Democrats did really well and this topic of affordability has come up, there's part of me that is feeling, blessed that happened in the sense that it was a wake-up call with plenty of time to fix it. We've got a lot of things coming in 2026 with the new tax brackets and the no tax on tips and a lot of the other things that the president is doing. So I agree. And I hope that Scott Bessent is right, that we are going to see a lot of progress moving forward. It is 7:15. Time to check the roads on WTN.
All right, I-24 is a mess this morning. Both the westbound and eastbound lanes have accidents. Accident reported westbound at Hickory Hollow Parkway, exit 60, and then that earlier semi-fire in the eastbound lane still has the right shoulder blocked at the Antioch Pike overpass. Got an injury crash out at McGavick Pike. A crash in the right-hand lane blocked at Fessler's Lane, exit 212. Then a new crash just popped up. Injury crash at Nolansville. So the 24 area is just a mess this morning. And then a crash reported out in Hendersonville, try to zoom in on this one, at Bluebird Drive, and then one back right before Vietnam Veterans Boulevard in Hendersonville. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, thank you. Pleasant today. The weather is a little easier than the traffic this morning. As far as your weather goes, pleasant times of clouds and sun, highs of 67, going to feel like 68. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News. Now, Sam, last week we did a Daily Dan poll on the economy and where you thought the economy was. And if I remember correctly, most people believe that they're supportive of Trump and they have confidence that he is going to work incredibly hard to improve the economy. Is that my recollection?
Yeah, I think Mason put it up. We had like 3 or 4 different options of, we're waiting it out, but we're hopeful, and then all the way down to we're screwed. And I think the majority of people overwhelmingly were like, I think once the plans roll out, it hasn't even been a full first year in office.
Joan, where you at on the economy?
It could be better.
Right. We had a poll, and we said, basically, you heard Sam say, basically, the overriding majority of people said, we need help. Yeah. Trump is on it, and they have confidence that he's going to fix it. Is that kind of where you're at? That's where I'm at.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm not, I'm not screaming from the mountaintops like other people are. I understand that when you talk about the economy, there's so many different ways to look at it, from, again, real wages to inflation in Trump's first year versus Biden's first year. There's so many different ways to look at numbers. And you used to work at the Wall Street Journal. You know all about manipulating numbers to promote your narrative.
The idea, when they first started messing with the recession, the definition of a recession.
Yes.
Come on, seriously.
Right.
And the media just went along with it.
Whistling by the graveyard is what the media was doing.
Absolutely. And that argument, there was no, the lines were clear about the definition of a recession long before Joe Biden decided to switch it, to change it. Right. And to soften it. So, the trickery began then. President Trump just has to, he's got to piece through so many things that have happened since the Biden administration. He can't do everything right now.
No, he can't.
But
and
he's
done a
things.
lot. Yeah, that's the thing. He's done a lot.
So much.
And so now he's got to, again, not to belabor the point, he can focus, by the way, he can focus on a number of different things. Mm-hmm. But I think it is really smart to get everybody out, get out front, and talk about what is coming up in 2026. And I think that there are better times ahead. The media is going to spin anything Donald Trump does as negative. We already know that, right? And
of course.
And the media is going to take whatever numbers they can to make it look like the economy is bad. And again, there's work to be done, but we'll have to wait and see if Scott Bessent is correct when he predicts a lot of economic growth and cheaper food and, of course, gasoline and the rest of it coming up in the first couple of months, the first couple of quarters in 2026. He's also predicting more purchasing power for the American people because of the implementation of the Donald Trump tax cuts that we saw in the big, beautiful bill. You know what else he's focusing on?
What's that?
Venezuela.
Ooh, in a big way, too.
He sure is.
Yeah.
Have we taken them out yet? Is that big old, big warship, the Gerald R. Ford?
Did you hear Nicolas Maduro singing this weekend?
No.
Oh, you didn't hear this?
What did he sing?
He sang the John Lennon song, Imagine.
He did
because
not.
he wants peace in the world. Yes.
Oh, my God.
Okay, so I have to find
Maduro.
it.
Okay, hold on. Let's.
Here you go. Ready? I have it.
Okay, go ahead.
So this is actually it's a part of a longer an ABC News reporter, Nicole D'Antonio. This is her report, and it contains that audio.
The State Department has announced it's designating another cartel as a foreign terrorist organization, even accusing Maduro of leading it himself. The administration releasing video of its 21st airstrike on alleged drug smuggling boats.
It's coming.
President Trump has threatened to go further and strike on Venezuelan soil.
Oh, Lord.
But Maduro over the weekend calling
Wow.
for peace, singing the John Lennon song, Imagine.
You know, it's so funny because knowing what we... Hey, Sam, can you see if you can find the extended dance remix version of Maduro singing? But it's awfully... You know, you're talking about a guy who has imported the worst of the worst into America. Mm-hmm. You're also talking about a guy who is said to be the leader of this drug cartel in Venezuela. It's called, to do the translation. It's Cartel of the Sun is what they call it.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, and that's the that is the cartel that they are focusing on. They have called that cartel now I guess, foreign terrorist organization. So, which I believe is smart. And Maduro, as he is singing Imagine by John Lennon, this is the guy that is streaming drugs into our country, right? So, and this is the guy that allowed because it really, and we talked about this before, invading of our country and destabilizing our country through letting in all of these foreigners. And a lot of these folks utilized Venezuela sort of as a triage, if you will, and letting all of these Iranians, North Koreans, all of these terrorists into our country, destabilizing our country with Russia, Iran, North Korea, and all of that immigration or migration, illegal and otherwise. When you're talking about Joe Biden, he allowed all of these people in so that they could call them legal migrants, but in reality, they were essentially
migraines.
Essentially they were illegal.
Well, and the irony of him singing that song when his opposition is the one who won the Nobel Peace Prize, and Maria Corina Machado.
Yep,
so
that's right. Who came out in support of Donald Trump?
Exactly. She thanked him, saying that it would not be possible for her to win that award if it weren't for Donald Trump. He's doing exactly what Hamas and you can even say ISIS have done to the leftists. He's kowtowering with singing John Lennon.
Yeah, but can she sing? That's what we want to know.
I would much rather listen to her talk or sing anything.
The opposition leader
Yeah.
in Venezuela?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Who's, I think, last we heard was in hiding. We weren't sure if she was going to be able to get the award.
Yeah, she was. She was in hiding. She was also throwing Donald Trump a lot of praise. I think she said Donald Trump was the one that actually should be
the winner
receiving
of the Nobel Peace Prize.
Yeah, the
Yep.
receiving of the Nobel Peace Prize. So coming up, so there is, by the way, some legit updates on what's going on in Venezuela. And part of the news this morning is that the president is focusing not only on the economy, but also on Venezuela. So we're going to talk about that straight ahead. 7:25, Joan's got the news coming up at 7:30. Joan.
Yeah, and coming up here in the news, another drug vessel blown to pieces in the Caribbean. Also, what the State Department has to say about the situation there. It's all coming up here at 7:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. Dan Mandis here, 7:25. Imagine if your Wi-Fi was a lot smarter. Picture it. By the way, it's a commercial for Comcast. I have been a Comcast customer for years and years and years. So that's why I proudly endorse Comcast. Now imagine if your Wi-Fi was a lot smarter. So picture it. Your TV, your phone, your laptop, even that fancy fridge of yours working together to make life easier with Xfinity. Now, Xfinity makes that dream a reality. Devices so in sync that you would think that they're telepathic. Really smart Wi-Fi that knows when your device needs a boost. The best equipment to stream 4 games at once with multi-view, and Xfinity Mobile that gives you Wi-Fi where you need it and 5G everywhere else. Now, that is the magic of Xfinity. It is seamlessly in tune with you. Xfinity, imagine that. Restrictions apply. To get started, call them, find them online, xfinity.com, or drop into an Xfinity store today. Xfinity.com, call them, or drop into an Xfinity store today. Hey, guys. We're off the air. I'm only talking to you. I just want to know if should we do a quick Daily Dan poll where we ask if management's new official station mascot is the toucan? Is that what this thing is called, the toucan? Usually we have the big WTN logo behind us, but somebody somewhere shanked something, as per the usual around here. So instead of promoting the radio station, we've got a big picture of Toucan Sam. And I feel like we should all just at this point embrace it.
You know, every once in a while, they do call you Fruit Loops.
All right, so we're done. Jones News is coming up. Thank you for watching. It's early. Can people tell how tired I am, do you think? Give me a thumbs up if you can tell how tired I am. I can't sleep without the deltas, and I'm out of my deltas. I know, it's terrible. People are calling me a drug user now, I know. Matt, you're a druggie. I'm really not, but I do need my deltas to sleep. So, and I'm not the only one at WTN that uses gummies to go to sleep. They're perfectly legal. All right, I'm done. See you on the other side.
Good morning. It is 7:31. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories in the news. The House of Representatives set to vote tomorrow to release the full Justice Department files related to Jeffrey Epstein.
Even if the House passes the bill to release the files, it still needs to pass the Senate, where its fate has been unclear. It would then head to President Trump's desk for his signature.
That's ABC's Allison Kosick. Now, President Trump on Truth Social last night said that he's urging House Republicans to vote in favor of releasing those files. The Pentagon confirming another attack on an alleged drug smuggling boat as it begins military exercises now with Trinidad and Tobago. And ABC's Nicole D'Antonio says it comes as another U.S. aircraft carrier has moved into the Caribbean.
President Trump says the U.S. may hold talks with Venezuela's authoritarian president, Nicolas Maduro.
We may be having some discussions with Maduro, and we'll see how that turns out. They would like to talk.
It comes as the U.S. mounts a show of force in the region. The Navy showing the world's largest and most advanced aircraft carrier, the USS Gerald Ford, arriving in the Caribbean. It's joined by 3 destroyers, a B-52 bomber, and multiple fighter jets.
The State Department is announcing as well that it's designating another cartel as a foreign terrorist organization, even accusing Maduro of leading it himself. Mount Juliet is lighting up the official Christmas tree tomorrow night. Happens at the Clock Tower at Veterans Memorial Park. Festivities will start at 5. The tree lighting happens at 7 o'clock tomorrow night. That's the latest news.
Joan.
Joan. Yeah.
As a native Mount Julietan.
Yeah.
Or a native Mount Juliite, that is not a clock tower. That is a clock stump.
Oh.
Have you ever seen it?
I have not.
I used to call it, people in Mount Juliet got mad at me.
Yeah.
But it's a stump.
It's a stump.
It is not a tower.
It is like look it up.
It is a stump.
Juliet.
And it's so funny too because when it was being built right there on Mount Juliet Road.
Oh yeah, it is kind of stumpy, isn't it?
I call it Stumpy the Clock Tower.
Yeah.
Maybe what I need to start doing is temperatures, and I'll say, and it's, 34 degrees in Mount Juliet at Stumpy the Clock Tower.
That is, it's pretty short.
It is.
Did someone, did they lose funds after they started building it?
You know what? I think the budget was cut like halfway up, and they just said, screw it. We'll just go ahead and finish it here.
I'm so sorry.
But there was such fanfare. Because I live there. So there was such fanfare that they were going to build this clock. And so I'm like, oh, this is going to be cool. They're going to build a clock, and it's going to be right there in the downtown area, whatever. And then when I finally saw the finished product, I was like, Is
that it?
Is that it? I thought it was going to be taller.
That's pretty funny. Well, you'll get to enjoy it tomorrow night when you see the tree lighting.
Sure. And you know what? Here's the deal. I love, love, love Mount Juliet. I never want to move. It is the greatest town, I believe, in all of Tennessee. And I know where you live is the greatest town where you live in Tennessee, but I love Mount Juliet.
I love that. That's great.
I even love Stumpy the Clock Tower.
And you'll see Santa Claus there tomorrow night.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. That is the latest news.
Riker won't get his picture taken with Santa Claus anymore.
He won't. He won't. See, that's a sad moment,
Hold
isn't it?
Hold on. Don't tell his mom.
Yeah.
But I am prepared to give him $50
if he'll do it.
In internet stuff to buy on his game thing, whatever that is.
Yeah.
If he'll just pose with Santa one more year. Don't tell his mom.
That'll be nice. So then you take the picture and you can present it in a beautiful frame.
That's exactly right.
And she'll love you forever.
Sure.
And she'll know you paid him off. Yeah, for sure.
All right, coming up. It's 7:30. Right, I'll read my copy. 7:35. Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. By the way, a lot more on Trump going after Nicolas Maduro straight ahead on WTN this month of November. Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. They are serving a big savings and big gratitude. If you've got a clogged drain, don't wait. Get our 93 or free main line opening special. Now, this is huge. Only $93, and this is where the free comes in. If Busy Bee cannot figure out the problem, that service is actually free. Offer valid for single-family homes only. It is important to do this heading into the holidays and really cold season.
So bingo.
Only $93. That is a big-time savings courtesy of Busy Bee. Now, if you're feeling festive, submit your favorite Thanksgiving recipe, and you could win $2,000 off a new HVAC install. Runner-up is going to get $1,000 off. Winners announced on Facebook Live. That is coming up on the 21st in just a few days. Call them. Tell them Dan told you to reach out. 615-775-7833. 615-775-7833. Find them online anytime. BusyBeeHVAC.com. Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, where comfort meets care.
Okay, on 40 westbound, south side, that crash is still there with the right lane blocked off at Fessler's Lane, exit 212. Watch it in Main Street at Hendersonville, the southbound lanes before Vietnam Veterans Boulevard. That's the scene of a crash as well. Harding Place at Nolansville Pike in Paragon Mills, also the scene of an accident. And 24 eastbound lanes, that earlier semi-truck on fire. The right shoulder is now blocked off by it, but traffic is moving by it much easier now at Vietnam Veterans Boulevard. Traffic every 10 minutes, every morning at the Antioch Pike overpass. Make that every 10 minutes in the morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
7:39, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. All right, so I think what I'm going to do, Joan.
Yeah.
A couple of things. I think that what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start doing landmarks in my weather when I actually remember to do them.
Oh, good for you.
So...
so like the clock tower?
Yeah, so it's 43 degrees in Mount Juliet at Stumpy the Clock Tower.
Yes,
right?
I like it.
We could do in Nashville, what can we do in the naked, well, of course, Michael Delgiorno used to always talk about the naked statues,
There you
right?
go. Mm-hmm.
So we could do the naked statues.
Did you notice that someone...
And that is 50, what do you say it is right now? 41? 41 at the
41.
naked statues, 43 at Stumpy the Clock Tower in Mount Juliet.
Which no one calls it the Buddy Killen Circle, which is what it is.
No, nobody calls it.
Did you notice that someone took the sign out for it?
No, I did not notice that.
Yeah, someone ran up on the curb apparently last week and took the sign out.
Oh, really? Well, it's probably a drunkard.
Somebody also planted fake flowers around the edge of the entire monument.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
Why? I don't know.
That is a little weird.
That's fine. And so then I need. So now what I need?
Now, yeah, we need.
I
new...
need a. I need a landmark in Murfreesboro. Like what is in Murfreesboro that I could use as a landmark?
The square.
No, it's got to be something stupid.
Okay, yeah.
Like I've got the naked statues. I've got Stumpy the Clock Tower. What is stupid in Murfreesboro that I could actually use as a and Ken Weaver lives in Murfreesboro. Maybe he could tell me what is a stupid landmark that we could have fun with in Mount Juliet.
There you go.
By the way, there seems to be a recurring theme on Nashville's Morning News this morning. Joan?
Yeah.
Tobago versus Tobago?
Yeah.
Is that what we're playing this morning? Is Tobago versus Tobago?
It's Tobago, yeah, sorry.
So you have been mispronouncing.
I have.
Tobago.
I thought it was Tobago, yeah.
What is it? Is
it's Tobago.
Is it a country somewhere?
Yes.
Where?
Trinidad and Tobago.
Caribbean.
Oh.
Yeah.
Dominican Caribbean area.
So you've been shanking it all morning long?
Well, that was only the second time I did it. Yes, thank you. Thank you for bringing that to my attention.
Oh, I'm sorry. Every time I make a mistake, which is literally every day, you people celebrate it like it's some sort of a big deal.
I thought she was saying Trinidad and Trivago, as in like the travel site. And I'm like, are there deals going on down there? What's happening?
Oh,
so
you know what?
Sam decided to interrupt me while I was doing the news to make sure that I knew I was pronouncing wrong.
Yeah, and then I'm in the middle of a commercial and you played it over the radio.
I know.
Which was
Isn't that
awesome.
Great.
And then he blamed me. He goes, what did you say? And I was like, I didn't say nothing.
All right, so everybody is telling me that what I could use in Murfreesboro for Trash Mountain, the landfill is called Trash Mountain. Is there a landfill in Murfreesboro? There is. I remember that.
Yeah.
There's a landfill in Murfreesboro. I mean, I like Murfreesboro. I do. It's just the drive there is horrendous, as everybody knows. The drive to and fro.
Yes.
You think Chris will be on time today? Hopefully he will.
I think there's a chance because they cleaned up that accident.
Apparently, it's also affectionately known, Grok was able to pull this, as Mount Trashmore.
Mount Trashmore. Because there's always more trash going into it?
I guess.
All right. Well, anyway, so yeah, Will, do me a favor. Would you just what are people saying? A great landmark in Murfreesboro. I do really like Trash Mountain. I like Trash Mountain. By the way, speaking of trash, Venezuela. Let's talk about that real quick. The president needs a video here. The president over the weekend did confirm that the Venezuelan president Maduro wants to talk.
Update on Venezuela, Mr. President. On Venezuela, update.
No update on Venezuela.
With the designation of that cartel associated with Maduro, does that mean that the U.S. government can target Maduro's assets or infrastructure inside Venezuela?
It allows us to do that, but we haven't said we're going to do that. And we may be having some discussions with Maduro and we'll see how that turns out. They would like to talk.
All right, so that is President Trump saying, yeah, you know what? Of course Maduro wants to talk. Trump has destroyed 21. Is that the latest count, Joan? 21 suspected drug vessels?
Yes, that is the count.
So that's got to be what? At least over 30 drug dealers that are dead fish food?
Yeah.
Venezuelan fish food? The president has actually openly said he'd like to see some regime change and that he had approved covert operations inside Venezuela itself. We've talked about that. He's also got a sizable military presence in the Caribbean patrolling the flowers. I don't know why I said the flowers.
I don't know why either.
Why is President? You know why? Because I've got the CBD on my mind. He is patrolling the waters of the Caribbean. They call it Operation Southern Spear. They've got. Do you know how much the bounty is on Maduro's head? $50 million.
I've seen there's a trend on social media of people, obviously more than likely facetiously planning, like, I have a business idea. And you, me, and a couple of friends round up Nicolas Maduro and collect our bounty.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I don't know how easy it would be to find Maduro, but I would love to. But I'm not a regime change guy. Like, I still believe that if you take out Maduro, and this is a conversation people are having, if you take out Maduro, then you're going to possibly have a power vacuum. And power vacuums are never good. It is 7:45. What else did Donald Trump say about Nicolas Maduro? We've got that straight ahead, including what Marco Rubio's big plans are. It is all straight ahead. 7:45, time to check the roads on WTN.
I'm anti-regime change, but 50 million is 50 million. And you're probably getting a medal from the U.S. government.
746 on Super Talk 99.7. So the whole Venezuela issue, one example of peace through strength. Show Venezuela how strong you are, and they're going to behave. We've got, help me out, Sam, what is the Gerald R. Ford? It's a massive ship. It's a battleship.
Pretty sure it's an aircraft carrier.
It's an aircraft carrier, right? They have all the planes on them. And I think this is Trump basically. Somebody called it peacocking. I'm pretty sure it's not peacocking, but
it's a nuclear-powered super carrier.
Yeah, so the president is basically saying, all right, you know what, Maduro? FAFO. Mess around and find out. So you have Venezuela importing, everybody knows, all of this cocaine. They've also got the fact that they export a lot of oil into China and Russia. That is also part of the conversation. You're going to have a lot of people screaming, no blood for oil, whatever. I do believe that it is about two things. Weakening our enemy or enemies, which is not a problem for me. And so if Venezuela, and they export a lot of oil into China and Russia. And so we make Venezuela a little less stable. Not that it's stable right now, but that will directly impact the stability of China. And that's what Donald Trump is wanting to do. And yes, also, they import a lot of cocaine into our country. And as I said before, remember that Maduro has exported into our country a whole lot of bad guys from other countries as well, including Iran, China, Afghanistan, trying to destabilize America through migration. A lot of that came through Venezuela. Now, another development over the weekend was that President Trump has now designated through the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, this drug cartel called the Cartel of the Suns as a foreign terrorist organization. Now, this is apparently a cartel run by none other than Nicolas Maduro. Now, I love the idea of explosives. I do. If you want to take out the drug cartels, by all means, take out the drug cartels. I don't care. The question is, will sanctions, because part of this whole thing is sanctions, will sanctions actually really work? We'll see if it does here. Probably won't. But one thing that does always seem to be true with President Trump is that he is always trying to personify, and it makes a lot of sense, he is always trying to personify peace through strength. And so that is why we have all of this military that is floating around the Caribbean right now. And I think that's a great thing to do. Tell them who's boss. President Trump was asked about all of that. And again, this was over the weekend.
We like to keep Congress involved. I mean, we're stopping drug dealers and drugs from coming into our country. And I actually told Marco and some of the people, our Secretary of State is doing a great job, by the way. I said, go to Congress and let them know we're not letting drugs come through Mexico. We're not letting them come through Venezuela.
I would love to see the Democrats in Congress start protesting that we are trying to stop drug dealers from coming into our country. I would love to see that. Now, I understand. And what President Trump is talking about, anytime a president takes some semblance of military action, you have the other side of the party and some within your own party screaming about how they were supposed to notify Congress. You don't have to notify Congress every time you utilize the military. Of course, you are going to have the people on the left scream about, oh, Donald Trump is being an authoritarian. No, he's not. He's trying to protect the American people.
And let Congress know about it. We don't have to get their approval, but I think letting them know is good. The only thing I don't want them to do is leak information that's very important and confidential and may put our military at risk, or whoever is doing, CIA, military, etc. But I did say, I said, go and see Congress, see the representatives that we're supposed to be seeing, and be open about it. If they say, we don't want you to stop drugs from coming into the country, I don't think that would be good.
No, it wouldn't be good. I mean, it'd be good for our side. So the designation, basically calling this cartel of the sun, basically what it means, calling them a foreign terrorist organization or an FTO, it means that they're going to have a harder time making money because of the sanctions involved. They also don't have the flexibility, the mobility that they once did. But there's all kinds of ways around it. That's why I think that you need to use bombs. Do you know what? There's not. You can't get around bombs. Like you can use, you can use either foreign currency or crypto, these kinds of things to skirt sanctions. But you can't get around bombs, and you can't get around snipers. And then if that's what we need to do, then that's what we need to do. 75 military aircraft is what that Gerald R. Ford is able to hold. So we've got the Gerald R. Ford out there patrolling the Caribbean. We've got all kinds of other, military aircraft and these kinds of things patrolling the Caribbean.
It also uses electromagnetic takeoff technology as opposed to the classic, if you remember from some war movies, that slingshot that they use.
Yeah, the slingshot. You see that.
Well, it's got updated technology, all sorts of stuff, and it can hold up over 75 aircraft, depending on what they stack it with. It's not the ship you want to mess with, man.
No. Well, that's, again, not to belabor the point, peace through strength. The big question is, though, will this actually stop Maduro and force him to resign? And should he resign? Again, I'm not that much into regime change at all, because I know that there are some bad hombres that are behind the scenes just itching for a fight. And so if we end up one way or another, Maduro ends up being taken out, okay, well then who is going to fill that power vacuum? And as we know from history, sometimes really bad things happen. And if you think Venezuela is not stable now, you wait until Maduro's gone and you've got all of these different factions that are fighting for power. That's the big worry. So what's next for Venezuela? Who knows? But you think it's bad now? Wait till you see what happens if there isn't somebody who is, you talk about Maduro is an authoritarian. Okay, well, sometimes you need the authoritarian in place to keep all of the bad guys at bay, right? I mean, we know that. So we'll have to see what the president ultimately decides to do with Venezuela. He is Donald Trump, weighing his options as far as Maduro goes. I'm not a big fan of sanctions because I frankly, look, how many years have we been sanctioning Vladimir Putin, right? And it doesn't do any good. So it's just silly. If you want to take out Maduro, take him out. Maduro, I'm telling you what, Maduro is this in part of your newscast, Joan? Where are they acknowledging that Maduro is crapping Twinkies?
No.
Is that because that's
No, but I
was
think
that part of
anytime-
ABC's official?
No, but I think anytime you hear him singing a John Lennon song,
Oh yeah,
for the public, I think it's pretty clear that he's sort of lost it.
that is crapping Twinkies-esque.
But exactly.
When you start singing to Donald Trump. So anyway, very good. It is a 7:53 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Joan, what's coming up in the news?
SNAP benefits are back, but they could look very different soon. Also, your Cheetos and Doritos are getting a Maha makeover. Those stories at 8 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. It is 7:54 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. I want to know how they're going to make Doritos, give them a Maha makeover.
Mm-hmm.
Is it part of that red dye stuff? Is that part of what it is? Oh, is it really? Look at me.
Yeah.
Okay, very good.
No, I mean, you could just tell the whole story now if you'd like.
No.
Okay, good.
No, I'll let you tell the rest of the story, Joan.
Thank you.
It's that news intuition that I have.
Oh, I see.
That's
yeah.
what it is. Dan Mandis here for Vision for Life. And listen, if you've been putting off getting your vision fixed, don't wait any longer. I waited way too long, man. Like, I waited for decades to get my vision fixed. And I finally decided to do it in 2025. And I've never been happier. It's never too late. If you want to do it as well, you can right before the holidays. Now, you don't miss a single smile around the dinner table this year. If cataracts or cloudy vision are making your world look blurry, Dr. Horn at Vision for Life can help you see your family and the holidays the way that they are meant to be seen. Now, Dr. Horn performed my lens replacement surgery earlier this year, and I can tell you firsthand the difference is amazing. The procedure takes just about 5 minutes. Recovery is fast, and the results are life-changing. Now, there's still some consultations available. If you want to check them out, please do so. They are filling up fast. Tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out. 615-436-2020. 615-436-2020. Find them online anytime. Visionforlife.com to schedule your consultation today. 615-436-2020. Visionforlife.com. 7:59, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Is it already going into the 4th hour of Nashville's Morning News on a Monday? Holy mackerel.
Flies by, right, when you're having fun?
Sure, Joan. That's exactly what it is. Time flies when you're having fun. By the way, if you're watching on Super Talk TV, Joan, I don't know if you've noticed, we have a new mascot
We
here
do.
at WTN.
Oh, yeah.
Toucan Sam. What is that? Toucan? Is that what it is?
Uh-huh, I think so.
So on Super
He's
Talk
something.
TV,
Yeah.
we usually have the big WTN logo behind me. Well, I don't know why it's not working. We can't figure it out. So now there's just a big picture of Toucan Sam. And Sam Rutherford said, well, it works for this show because I'm a little Fruit Loopy.
Was he talking about himself or you?
No, he was talking about me.
Okay.
Of course he was talking about me. Oh, and Joan seems to agree. Thanks, Joan. It is 8 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning, 8 o'clock. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. At 5 o'clock this morning, the FAA lifted that order to scale back flights at the nation's busiest airports. WSMV4's Joylyn Bukovac at Nashville International Airport after that.
The agency says staffing issues have now stabilized, and they're seeing far less staffing trigger events, which is what initially set off those reductions in the first place. And now that those reductions have ended, travelers, they should start seeing less delays and more predictable connecting flights as well. All this comes just in time for getting ready for Thanksgiving. That's less than 2 weeks away, and that's one of the busiest travel seasons.
Now, the flight cuts had been in effect for 10 days. Also, the Department of Agriculture restoring full SNAP benefits. They said everyone on SNAP will have been fully restored by the end of the day today. Meantime, USDA Chief Brooke Rollins telling Newsmax that the Trump administration is planning to have everyone receiving SNAP benefits reapply after they found 186,000 dead recipients in 29 red states.
Can you imagine when we get our hands on the blue state data, what we're going to find? It's going to give us a platform and a trajectory to fundamentally rebuild this program, have everyone reapply for their benefit.
Rollins said her department found a person who is using the same Social Security number, receiving 6 different EBT cards in 6 different states. It's been 30 years since O.J. Simpson was acquitted of murdering his ex-wife Nicole and her friend Ron Goldman. Well, now the estate of O.J. Simpson is telling ABC News it will accept a claim of roughly $58 million from the family of Ron Goldman. But the question remains whether that will ever be paid in full.
In 1995, Simpson was famously acquitted in the murder trial of his ex-wife, Nicole Brown Simpson, and her friend, Ron Goldman. But O.J. was later found liable for their deaths in a civil trial and was ordered to pay their families more than $33 million. And the interest has been growing ever since. Simpson died of cancer last year at the age of 76. Goldman's family, at the time, said they'd received only a fraction of the money. An auction of O.J.'s belongings earlier this year raised about $300,000.
That's ABC's Maggie Ruley. So your Doritos and Cheetos are getting a makeover. PepsiCo introducing its Maha version of the snacks. They won't have artificial colors or flavors. They're being called the Simply NKD, so Simply Naked variety of snacks, on store shelves December 1st. PepsiCo, however, isn't going all in. For now, the company says the original Doritos and Cheetos will remain on the market. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Just in, the price of weight loss drugs Wegovy and Ozempic have just been cut to $349 a month. That's down from $500. Novo Nordisk also announcing it'll cut the first 2 months for new customers paying cash to $200 per month. That is the latest news, traffic, and weather. Next, I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. All right, so on 24, the eastbound lanes in Glencliff, you've got the right exit lane blocked off at Briley Parkway South, exit 54, by a crash. 40 westbound, an accident in Lebanon, past Lebanon, exit 238. An accident on Harding Pike at Harding Place as well. And in Paragon Mills, Harding Place at Nolansville Pike. That's a crash involving injuries. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.806, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Welcome on in and hope you are doing well. Afton Bain came out and she posted it on Instagram, and I can't figure out how to get this, and see if you can get it up on your computer, if you would, Sam. But Afton Bain was talking about how the TVA, there are Republicans in the state and at the federal level who want to privatize the TVA, the Tennessee Valley Authority. And so one of the things that she said was, you've got to watch out for these Republicans because they're going to give the breaks for millionaires and billionaires, and all the usual like stuff that they always say, people on the left. Do you know what's interesting, though? Did you know this? And I'm trying to get somebody there's very few experts on the TVA. I'm certainly not one of them. But one of the things first of all, we know that the TVA, remember what the whole thing with John Rich, where they were trying to abscond with some poor widow's land? Do you remember that whole thing? I mean, we covered that extensively here on Nashville's Morning News and yours truly.
Pretty amazing story.
Oh, yeah. I mean, John Rich did such a great job of drawing attention to that. So Afton Bain is now warning that the Republicans in the state of Tennessee and at the federal level want to privatize the TVA. And she says this is going to lead to all kinds of corruption, higher energy prices, all of that. But you know what's weird? Is that if you grok, and I'm going to do it again, have there been any, because she's, demonizing Republicans for it, have there been any Democrats who have talked about privatizing the TVA? You know what comes up? Bill Clinton and Barack Obama. Both of them talked about privatizing the TVA. So this is not a unique conversation strictly to Republicans in current day. Obama and Bill Clinton both had the same conversations. But can I just tell you, I'm not sure why she's even talking about this. I mean, I do understand that it is something that is important to our state and other states as well. Tennessee Valley Authority is a huge thing. But this is not a congressional issue. Like, she's running for the 7th. This is not a congressional issue. This is what happens basically is you have the president, and what he does is he nominates the people to the TVA board, and then ultimately, from what I can tell, the TVA board decides whether or not they are to be privatized or not. Right now, the TVA is a public entity, and I mean, by any easy anything Googling, you Google it, and there's been all kinds of issues with the TVA, and there's some corruption. There's a lot of mismanagement. There's a lot of board. And last time I checked, anyway, there's a lot of board seats that remain vacant, and so President Trump has been trying to get some board members, because Trump is for, it would appear, privatizing the TVA. As a matter of fact, they talked about, I read there's one article about how Senator Bill Hagerty was in line to be the new head of the TVA. So whether you privatize the TVA, whether you don't privatize the TVA, the question is, do you think the TVA will be run better if it was privatized? And most people would say, if you're conservative, you know that the federal government running anything is going to be a train wreck. And there's a lot of people that would say that some of the things that the TVA has done has been rather train wreckery. And so now for the president, he wants to apparently privatize the TVA. They've talked about it. But again, as Afton Bain is trying to sound the alarm that this is going to be a giveaway to the millionaires and the billionaires, it is so predictable. Like, can they not get another, like, narrative besides just it'll be, great for the millionaires and billionaires? Because there's a lot of people that the TVA has been trying to screw over, we've seen over the past year, by absconding with their property. And there's, here's the deal, is we need to do whatever we can, and for the TVA, and I've had interviews on this, what we need to focus on is nuclear power in this country. That is in this state and in this country, in my ever so humble opinion. So if by privatizing the TVA, we can move towards, more nuclear power, I think that would be great. Did you find the audio of Afton Bain? Are you able to play it off of Instagram?
I can't play it off the air, but it's a nothing burger. She's just saying, vote for the candidate that will keep your utility bills low. And if you go to the Instagram page, Afton Bain for TN, it just says, running for Congress in Tennessee 7 special election to feed kids, fix roads, and fund hospitals.
Do you remember I made fun of that? Were you, was it on TN? I don't know where I was, but I was making fun of that tagline. Again, do it again. Feed kids.
Special election to feed kids, fix roads, and fund hospitals, which I just want to point out, you also were co-author or assisted in a lawsuit to help kill kids and help kids have abortions.
That was part of, what her path to power, if you will. So I don't know. Feed kids, parents' responsibility.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, she just calls Van Epps a puppet. Her talking points are, I'll release the Epstein files, I'll lower your utility costs, and Van Epps is a puppet of D.C.
Can I ask this question, though? Like, did she say anything like lowering energy prices when Joe Biden was the president and crap was really expensive? Can you see if she said anything? I'm being facetious. Can you see if she said anything when Joe Biden was the president and we had inflation way up over 9%? And stuff was really expensive? Did she say anything about that then? Did she say anything about feeding kids at that point?
I don't have the time to scroll through the narcissistic ramblings of this chick. It's vote for me to release the Epstein files. A day in the life of a congressional candidate.
Oh, whatever.
She's so out of touch.
Anyway, whatever. Listen, she's going to say what she's going to say. But I thought it was funny how she's calling for the privatization of the TVA and saying, oh, my God, the Republicans are going to do this. And both Clinton and Obama have made the same suggestions over the years. The TVA has been around forever. So, I mean, I'm trying to set up an interview with somebody who knows a lot about the TVA because I don't. But, I mean, again, because we covered it, you Google corruption or mismanagement of the TVA, and stuff comes up. I'm just going to say it is 8:14 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Our Daily Dan poll, real quick, is basically, are you on the side of MTG or DJT? Donald J. Trump versus Marjorie Taylor Greene.
We're up to 80-20 in favor of the president.
Wow, we now have an 80-20 issue within the Republican Party. All right, very good. She is all over the place. Do you know what is it wrong? I get very suspicious and cynical when I see somebody getting all kinds of media attention when they're trying to go like counter to what Trump is in office, right? So Trump is in office and he came out and he said, okay, let's go ahead and release the Epstein files. Just get it over with. That is literally what he's been saying. But I'm just a little suspicious when she's on Bill Maher. She's on all of these different shows on any given Sunday. And she is right now the darling, and Joan knows how this works. She's the darling of the Democrats because she, as a Republican, is coming out and saying things contrary to Donald Trump. And so I think that, you have, and we've talked about this off and on throughout the morning, you now have a splinter. CNN was talking about this earlier. Between MAGA and America First. And so now you've got this splinter organization, if you will, of America First. What does America First stand for? Not necessarily all in on Israel. Release the Epstein files. No 600,000 Chinese students and no need to import talent. All of that, or some of that, is, of course, indicative of that train wreck of an interview that Donald Trump had with Laura Ingraham. Donald Trump remains pro-Israel. I think there's a lot of people within the MAGA movement that are mixed on the Epstein files. I am all for release the files, release them responsibly, and do it as soon as possible, because the left is using this as a bludgeon against conservatives and Trump supporters. Donald Trump, obviously, famously or infamously, yes to 600,000 Chinese students coming into our country. And Donald Trump saying we need to import talent from other countries like India. So there's a lot of disagreement going on regarding the MAGA movement versus the America First movement. And we now officially on Nashville's Morning News have an 80-20. 80% still supportive. Do you know what I think is going on? I think 80% of the people are supportive of Donald Trump, even if they have some misgivings about some of his policies. That's kind of where I'm at right now. Like, I support Trump, but I'm not with him on the 600,000 Chinese students. I'm not with him necessarily on the America needs to import talent. But I understand what the president is saying, that here in America in 2025, there may be, and I haven't done a deep dive on this, but the president said there may be some times when we do have to bring in foreign talent. And I used the example of the medical community, where you've got a lot of these medical professionals that come in from India. And okay, so if you've got 100 positions, you've got 80 Americans to fill 100 of the positions, then you have 80 Americans, you hire 20 Indians, and then you figure out a way to plug the holes with Americans. You try to train more Americans to do those jobs. You do whatever you can to get Americans qualified to do those jobs that are right now being plugged up by Indians, that are being taken by Indians. That's what you do. Now, you're still going to have the corporations that are going to be utilizing those loopholes so that they can bring in people cheaper, which is frustrating as all get out. And that is something that does need to be addressed. It is 8:17. Time to check the roads on WTN. All right, as far as your weather for today, it's going to be a nice day with highs. And help me out. What are the highs going to be in 60s? Here we are. I buried my weather. Pleasant today with times of clouds and sun, high of 67. Going to feel like 68. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Marjorie Taylor Greene, by the way, I keep talking about how she was all over the place this weekend. I'm calling it a MAGA civil war. And President Trump basically came out and he said that he withdraws any support that he's had of Marjorie Taylor Greene, and that he would very much support anyone who wanted to primary against her. And so that's what the president's doing now. That is his official commentary on Marjorie Taylor Greene. This is part of what he said outside of Air Force One.
Fake news like you're a terrible reporter, and fake news like you, they just keep bringing that up to deflect from the tremendous success of
You talk about Epstein.
The Trump administration. So a guy like Massey, his poll numbers are showing he's at 6% approval rating right now. And we call him Rand Paul Jr. because he never votes for the Republican Party. So they're using Jeffrey Epstein as a deflection from the tremendous success that we're having as a party.
I mean, I believe that is true. Look, we've been saying this for how long now? In a lengthy Truth Social post, Donald Trump emphasizing his wins, which is really smart. He says, all I do care about is that the Republicans get back on point, which is the economy, affordability, where the president says we are winning big. Our victory on reducing inflation from the highest level in history to practically nothing, bringing down prices for the American people, delivering historic tax cuts, gaining trillions of dollars of investment into America, a record, the rebuilding of our military, securing our border, deporting criminal illegal aliens, ending men in women's sports, stopping transgender for everyone, and so much more. And folks, that's only been 10 months. I don't know what he means by stopping transgender for everyone. I don't actually know what he means by that. I really don't care what an over 18 does as long as they're not involved in women's sports or women's locker rooms, right? I mean, if you're a guy and you want to put on a dress and pretend and whatever you want to do, knock yourselves out, leave the children out of it. That's the whole point. Leave the children out and stay the hell out of locker rooms and women's sports. The president also saying nobody cared about Jeffrey Epstein when he was alive, and if the Democrats had anything, they would have released it before our landslide victory, and he's absolutely right. He says, here's the deal. Don't fall into the Epstein trap, which is actually, he says, a curse on the Democrats, not us. Make America great again. And I love that message. And he has said before, I don't know how many different ways the president can say it. Release the Epstein files. That's all you got to do. Release them responsibly. This is a no-brainer. Every time they try to get him with a new batch of emails or documents or whatever it is, it does end up being positive for President Trump. Remember, and we talked about this earlier, the emails last week provided several things, proved several things. It was Epstein emailing a New York Times reporter about how he wanted to team up with them to try to take down the president. So even Jeffrey Epstein, who was trying to take down the president, ultimately didn't ever really say anything that Donald Trump was doing anything untoward with those girls. It was honestly nothing but a bunch of innuendo. That's what I said. It was a bunch of innuendo.
Well, and then apparently Washington Post broke it first, surprisingly enough. Epstein was texting with Representative Stacey Plaskett during the 2019 congressional hearing to ruin Trump's reputation.
Yeah, exactly. Plaskett, we talked about that earlier. Plaskett was getting ready to question Michael Cohen in a congressional hearing. And so Cohen is getting ready to take the stand. And you've got this Plaskett apparently asking questions or going back and forth with Epstein. Okay, how can I tee up Michael Cohen and ask him these questions so that he can hit it out of the park in demonizing Donald Trump? That's what was going on. So you had Congresswoman Plaskett, you had Jeffrey, who, by the way, Epstein at the time, everybody knew that he was, I don't think he was actually convicted yet. I can't remember if he was actually convicted, but everybody knew dude was a predator. And now you have the Democrats, they'll do anything just to take down Donald Trump, including go back and forth with somebody who is a predator, a child predator. It's amazing.
It's just absolutely nuts. The conversation. Cohen brought up Rona, keeper of the secrets. Epstein texted, misspelling Graf's first name. Yep. Rona responded, Plaskett, a non-voting delegate represents the U.S. Virgin Islands. Okay.
Yeah, non-voting.
Quick, I'm up next. Is that an acronym? Like the coordination effort. When people wanted to, Trump said it was a hoax. When I see stuff like this, I'm like, I get why he would say that now. Makes perfect sense.
Well, yes, not only that, but okay, so why does this congresswoman, why does she not do her homework? How did she not know who it was? And Rona was one of Trump's administrative assistants or something like that. So anyway, just when you talk about the deep state and how they were going after Donald Trump and the coordination between Jeffrey Epstein and Michael Cohen and this congresswoman, here's the thing. They did all that. They still had nothing on Donald Trump and proof that he did anything wrong. As I've been saying, there's more proof that Donald Trump did nothing wrong than more proof that he did anything untoward with those women. 8:24, Jones got the news at 8:30. Hello, Joan.
Hello there. So we'll tell you how a meat thermometer caused the evacuation of a store this weekend. Also, wait till you hear who the Memphis Safe Task Force just arrested. Those stories at 8:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Super Talk TV.
Dan Mandis here for my friends at Contours. Listen, if you need some ways to get rid of that stubborn belly fat, they can help you just in time for the holidays. Now, listen, they've got a plan for you at Contours. They call them Contours LLC in Cool Springs. Now, what they specialize in is those belly buster specials. Now, let me tell you what it is. First of all, it is awesome. And Chad's done it. I've done it, of course. And Matt Murphy is now doing it as well. And here's what the Belly Buster specials involve, or does not involve. No pain, non-invasive, no downtime either. Their unique red light technology is considered to be far safer than any other methods widely available in the market that kills or removes fat cells. That's why I love Contours. They are here to help you. They also utilize this cutting-edge red light technology to help your face. I was joking on Friday about how I'm going to try this because I've got these the only way that I can describe them, Joan, they're like craters on my face, or like what do you call them? Fault. I've got like fault lines on my face. And I called them over the weekend. You know what I said to Amy? You know what I'm going to start calling the faults on my face? The big lines on my face? The Dan Andreas fault lines on my face. Like San Andreas, but Dan Andreas, whatever. Apparently, Joan doesn't think that's funny. Uh-huh. They also do red light on your face. The results can be amazing. Fine lines disappear. Not sure if my fault lines will disappear. Blemishes are going to go away, and your skin is going to look a lot better. 615-236-9960 is the phone number, 615-236-9960. Find them online, contoursllc.com.
Good morning. It is now 8:31. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. In Memphis, a surge of National Guardsmen is expected this week with up to 210 more troops on the way. They'll join the other federal and state forces in a continued crackdown on violent crime. So far, that task force says they're making a big difference with more than 2,300 arrests, more than 1,000 warrants cleared, and 101 missing children located. Meantime, in Charlotte, North Carolina, U.S. immigration agents have begun making arrests there, and they were met with these folks. People waving foreign flags blocking the road outside a DHS facility. A member of the Metro Nashville Police Department has died unexpectedly. Here's WSMV4.
Police announced Commander Scott Bird has died, and police say Bird suffered a heart attack at his home on Monday while preparing to come into work.
He was a 25-year police department veteran. The Tennessee man charged with killing 4 members of his girlfriend's family and kidnapping a baby is scheduled to make his first court appearance today. Austin Drummond will appear before a judge in Lake County for his arraignment. Now, he was already pleading not guilty in a lower court before a judge ruled there was enough evidence for this case to proceed to the grand jury. Prosecutors have said they'll seek the death penalty if Drummond is convicted of first-degree murder. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management online at beaconcm.com. Stocks trading here for the first time on this Monday morning. And the Dow Jones is starting off 122 points lower. NASDAQ falling 32. S&P 500 index down 15. That is the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan Jones. 8:33 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 Window Nation. Listen, the cold weather, the really cold weather is going to come back. So if you want to keep your warm air in and the cold weather out, call my friends at Window Nation and take advantage of one of their best ever deals, the end-of-year sale going on through November, where you get 50% off all window styles. You could get 0% interest financing for 5 years as well. Replace your old or builder-grade windows with custom-built, high-quality windows from my friends at Window Nation. You know, you can upgrade your windows, and you can, when you do that, that's what I did, upgrade the value of your home. I've got 4 Window Nation windows in my home. I've got 1 in my bedroom, 1 in my kitchen, and 2 in my downstairs basement studio. They've got an A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau and an A-plus rating from yours truly. Now, check them out today. Window Nation, don't forget about that great deal. 866-90-NATION is the phone number. Ask them about the Daily Dan deal. Take advantage of Window Nation's end-of-year sale going on through November. 50% off all window styles, 0% interest financing for 5 years. 866-90-NATION, 866-90-NATION, windownation.com.
Oh, big problem on 40 westbound in Lebanon this morning. It is closed off 40 westbound between Lebanon Watertown exit 239 and Lebanon exit 238. There's a very serious crash in that spot this morning. Also, at TSU at Temple Boulevard at West Hyman Street, that's a crash scene. In Rivergate on Gallatin Pike North at Myatt Drive, another scene. Also, Pegram, you've got Sam's Creek Road, one lane opened at Shade Tree Lane. It appears there may be an accident there. We'll check into that. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.838, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Time for the crisscross handoff. Joan Jones is back. Did you see Joan?
I was going to open with, let me be the first to say how nice it is to have Joan Jones back on the morning show.
You guys are sweet.
Well, you
What is
weren't
it
the
that you
first.
want?
I said it was great to have Joan back as well.
Well, I saw her at church yesterday, and I said, you're back tomorrow, right?
I sent her a text on Saturday, so bite me.
I sent her a text during one of Sam's newscasts on Friday.
Man, this has gotten really ugly.
That's not nice.
Sam, he's just being quiet.
Yeah.
Getting angrier.
His face going to start getting red. Okay, so we had a bit of a thing that we're trying to do.
Yes.
Right? So when I do the weather, I need landmarks, right? So in Nashville, we have the naked statues.
True.
In Mount Juliet, we've got Stumpy the Clock Tower.
Yep, I've heard of Stumpy.
Yep. There's no little blue pill for Stumpy.
Oh my gosh.
What? And so I need a landmark for Murfreesboro. And so people were talking about this big trash landfill
Mount
thing.
Trashmore.
Mount Trashmore.
I think that's the perfect landmark.
Mount Trashmore?
However, I would like to throw an audible into this plan.
Okay.
I think that you need more Mandis type landmarks.
Really?
So what I would suggest is that you just do the different in and out locations.
Really?
Oh,
In and
that's a good
out in
idea.
in and out in Lebanon,
yeah,
or Mount Juliet, in and out in Antioch, in and out
Yeah.
in Murfreesboro. I think you just stick with the same landmark in different cities.
I could do that.
You want them to pay for that.
Thank you, Joan. I didn't want to be the one to say it,
Okay.
but I know that.
Yeah.
I know, Chris, that you're young and impressionable. You haven't been in radio as long as me.
Okay.
But I think that the fine people in the sales department would have my head if I gave that kind of advertising.
You're just gonna give Mount Trashmore all the free mentions.
Yeah, actually, because it's got a great ring to it.
It does.
Yeah, I mean,
I
I
like
don't. Plus, I don't see a landfill advertising on Nashville's
Right.
Morning News, although it might, be honest, be kind of appropriate.
The best deal that you can get on a house in Murfreesboro is the one right at the edge of Mount Trashmore. They've been trying to sell it for like years.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I don't know why you would want to live there.
No,
Apparently everybody feels the same way because it's the for sale sign's been there for the longest time.
Is Mount Trashmore a super fund? You know what a super fund is?
Yeah, super fun site.
Yeah, a super fund site. Is it a super fund site? Do we know?
I don't know.
Okay. A super fund site is a site where they have like dropped a bunch of stuff, chemicals and that kind of a thing, and that it's going to take forever for the groundwater and all that to,
I
better.
would imagine that's a safe bet.
Safe bet? Okay.
Yeah.
People live around Mount Trashmore?
They do.
Okay.
And there's a sulfur smell in the air sometimes.
People have said that. People have said there's a sulfur smell when it comes to Mount Trashmore.
That's just
It's
great.
true. It's free though. The smell is free.
So I could do 43 degrees at the Naked Statues in Nashville, the 42 degrees at Stumpy the Clock Tower in Mount Juliet, and it's 41 degrees at Mount Trashmore in Murfreesboro.
I like that.
Does it kind of ring?
It flows.
You know what the great thing is? For you folks that don't want to hear it, I promise you, I will forget this by tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. Because I obsess over things. I'm like, oh my gosh, that would be cool. Wait, what did I say that I was going to do? And I just like to make fun of Stumpy the Clock Tower. That's the only thing that I like to do is make fun of Stumpy.
That's the only thing you like to do?
I can, as a Mount Julietan, make fun of Stumpy.
It's the only thing you like to do.
Well, I like to do other things too.
You have a good weekend?
Yeah, it was fine. Went bowling.
I saw.
Went bowling.
Dan,
I did.
Dan posted
Nice.
pictures of his shoes on Instagram.
I did.
Did they run out of ones with laces?
I don't know. They just gave me what I.
Okay.
They just gave
so
me
you're
whatever.
wearing
I saw the
shoes that other
Velcros and I was
people
like,
or- Other people wore those shoes, and now you're going to put them on your feet?
Yeah.
Did you go home and scrub?
It's a good question.
I'll be honest. I did go home and take a bath. So, whatever. Why are you guys always bumming my ride, man? No matter what I do, you guys have something negative to say
I
about
didn't
it.
have anything negative to say about bath time.
I had a... I'm going to throw something at you, man.
What?
I had a Pop-Tart this morning for breakfast. Want to crap on that parade, too? Go ahead.
High fructose corn syrup, Dan.
Yeah.
Do you know how much fat content and carbs are in
What
that
kind of
Pop-Tart?
What kind of Pop-Tart?
Yeah, what
Because I just
flavor?
want to let you know, s'mores is the only right answer.
Exactly.
Negatory. Blueberry is good.
No.
Blueberry and
Fake
chocolate
news.
is good.
No.
Fake
Dan.
news.
Dan.
It's s'mores followed by cinnamon in that order.
Nope,
And
you guys could be
strawberry.
wrong. It's cool. You know what they're gonna bastardize the Doritos and the Cheetos?
They're not going to bastardize them. They're going to make them better. Do you
That's
know that
right.
they actually have like organic food coloring free Doritos and Cheetos already? And
Do they-
I'm telling you, it's the best Dorito that you've ever had, the best Cheeto
Okay.
of
Do
all
they-
time.
Do they?
It's still made with real children's laughter, so
By
I
the
don't
way,
know what the issue is.
It's Cheeto, not Cheeto.
Excuse me.
It's Cheeto.
I learned how to pronounce these things from Kamala Harris. It's Dorito
Oh, that's
and
right.
Cheeto.
Okay, fair. All right. There's a picture on the screen. If we'd like to share it, how would you like to describe the woman on the screen?
I think Sam just nailed it.
No, but there's people listening on the radio. So
On the what?
on the radio, the radio.
The Radidio.
The Radidio.
All right, so this is typical British woman, would you say?
Her teeth look too white to be totally typical British.
Okay, so above average British woman. She's an above average
Yeah.
British lad. Her name is Lorraine Forbes, and she's been looking for love.
In all the wrong places.
Yes, she has. She's been throwing messages in bottles into the sea in England.
Does she not know that there's like plenty of fish? Well, you know what? I think she got confused about what plenty of fish is.
So she's been doing this for years, and she finally got a letter back.
I don't see that there is a ring on that finger of hers. She
Nope.
got a letter back. What did the letter say?
The letter said, "Please stop throwing rubbish in the sea." It goes to Pevensey Bay or Norman's Bay one day later. Many thanks, a rubbish picker.
Oh, that is so funny.
So she said it was some cowardly litter picker who sent me the response.
Cowardly litter picker.
A cowardly litter picker.
Wow.
I think that it's really nasty. They were trying to make a point and teach me a lesson. I'll never know who the person is that sent me that letter. They refused to put their name to it. If they had, I would have demanded that they give me my £7 back.
7 pounds.
Apparently, she would put money in the bottle so that way she could get letters back.
Oh, got it.
Wow.
Okay.
So she was.
If I get pulled off of YouTube for that,
Yeah.
She said
Hot
that
down.
she uses plastic bottles instead of glass because she doesn't want them to shatter in the water.
So she's throwing plastic into the ocean. That's
She
just
is.
great.
She is, but then in the most British response ever, she said, "I probably won't do it again because I did realize that my name and my address is on that, and I'll probably get a knock on the door from the authorities for throwing rubbish into the sea."
They get a knock on their door for thinking about praying in front of an abortion
I was
clinic.
going to say if she'd posted it to Facebook, she would have already been in jail.
So Amy has this friend in the UK.
Is that how they communicate? Message in a bottle?
No. And I, of course, because I can never get away from the news, I start probing all these questions, right? Like, So has she seen the rampaging Muslims of the UK? And Amy's like, can you please just shut up? I want to know, like, how does she avoid them? Because they're like everywhere.
You say that enough, and there's going to be a punk band in 2 or 3 years called the Rampaging Muslims.
You know what? They can have it. They can have it. And she's like, and so finally she did ask, because I was like, just because I'm fascinated about living in the UK.
What was her take on the rampaging Muslims?
She's nice and further out.
Okay.
But there's apparently a lot of rampaging Muslims in like Leeds, which is in the UK somewhere, and London, just all the big metropolitan areas. So
yeah, not a fan.
Was she? She wasn't a big fan of the rampaging Muslims either, and people getting knifed all the time. So when you think that life is, some people life in America, oy. Well, they got a lot worse in the UK.
It's true.
For now, fact check true.
Yep.
Do you think this woman will? Hey, Joan, do you think this woman will ever find love?
No, I do not.
We got dueling Joan.
I know, you seem to be contradicting yourself there, Joan.
Yes. No, I think she's going to be sitting around for a long time in her rocker.
A rocker.
Well, she sounds like she's off her rocker.
Yeah.
See what I did there?
Yeah.
It's off her rocker. Right.
I'm sure that she could find a nice refugee that would like to marry her for citizenship.
Yeah.
Oh, what you're not understanding, Chris, is they don't care about citizenship. they just want to take over the country.
That's true. All right.
This is what my poor wife has to deal with when
Fair enough.
Yes. Did you catch the joke that I did?
Which
Joe,
joke?
Did you catch the joke that I did when I was talking about contours? And they said in the copy it's fine lines. I don't think that these fault lines that are in my face are fine lines.
What do you think they are?
I think they're the Dan Andreas faults. Did you hear that? Instead of the San Andreas fault, I said the Dan Andreas fault.
Nice.
Isn't that good?
Nice.
No, not shut up. That was go have another drink, Nancy.
The vodka skeleton.
Anyway, so yeah. So Keith said challenge accepted.
Oh.
So he thinks he can get rid of these things. I don't know.
Yeah?
You kind of tell what my problem is? Amy proclaims that she loves these.
Oh.
The big lines on the side of my face. What would you? What? It's like what do you call the dogs that have the melting looking face?
Like the French bulldog.
I look like a French bulldog or a schnauzer. That's what I feel like I look like.
And you're small, so.
Oh, Joan.
I'm sorry.
Hey, everybody, Joan's back.
They are great lap dogs.
Yeah. Anyway, so there you go.
Oh, Joan's back.
She is. We gotta love Joan.
Sorry, it was just right there. And...
Sure was.
Yeah.
Sure was, and I just left it hanging there. All right, very good.
Did you?
No, I didn't. Anyway, moving right along. What else do you have for this? Joan, please, how was your vacation?
It was great, Dan.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Tom says the funniest part of Jan's jokes, he has to explain them.
Yeah, I agree.
That's everybody's favorite part.
You know what's so funny about all this? Nothing. Nothing at all.
I would also argue, Tom, was it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When something has to be explained.
A Shar-Pei.
Oh, a Shar-Pei.
Shar-Pei.
Those are mean dogs.
So do I get this fixed and
You're nowhere near as mean as a Shar-Pei.
If I get these taken care of, my lovely wife will no longer find me attractive because she somehow. Do you think she just says that she likes the lines, but she?
Yes.
Oh, dang! Joan's back. Joan's back.
I'm sorry. Why do we have her microphone on again?
Pot her down, Sam. Pot her down.
The lower my self-esteem goes, the happier Joan gets. Apparently, Joan is trying to do everything she can to make my day.
Like you set yourself up, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay. Am I not supposed to take the opportunity?
Do you know what I'm? Whatever.
What is it, Dan?
I'm moving. No, nothing. You know what's going to happen? I'm going to have the lines fixed, Amy will leave me, then I'm going to be stuck sending bottles with messages into like Old Hickory. So I'm at Old Hickory or what's the other one?
You're just going to be at the edge of Percy Priest Lake.
Percy Priest Lake, just waiting for somebody to return my bottle. Somebody will hit me over the head with it. Anyway, 8:52. Nash. I don't. This was a stupid segment.
I kind of liked it.
Jones back.
It is 8:52 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. And Chris, what do you have for your show coming up?
We'll talk about the media spin on the Epstein files, and then we'll compare it to the reality of the Epstein files. We'll also talk about the Marjorie Taylor Greene, Donald Trump beef, and we'll give you some updates on immigration enforcement and the economy.
You know what's funny? We're talking about off the air about this this Congresswoman.
Plaskett, Stacey Plaskett.
Out of the Virgin Islands?
Yep.
Isn't it ironic, by the way, that she's the member out of the Virgin Islands and she was texting Epstein?
I'm sure it's just a coincidence, Dan.
You know what? I'm just saying, just a little observation on my part.
It's a happy little accident.
Happy little accident. All right, it is 8:53 on Super Talk 99.7. Joan, what you got coming up?
There is a Supreme Court announcement that just came down. I'll tell you about coming up here in the news at 9 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Dan Matus here for USS United Structural Systems. I've been telling you about these folks for years. They are experts in waterproofing, concrete leveling, foundation repair. This is a great company. They've helped me several times with my home, and that is why I proudly endorse United Structural Systems. Now, I'm one of 30,000 satisfied customers. One recent review on Google, guy says that USS, they were highly professional. The crew was phenomenal from start to finish. They treated his home as if they were working on their own home, and he does give United Structural Systems 5 stars all the way. Now, they're not going to charge you for any unnecessary repairs, and you won't pay a dime until the work is done and you are a satisfied customer. Now, they can help you with basement and crawl space waterproofing, basement wall stabilization, foundation repair. We guarantee our best. Call USS 615-488-7855. Tell them Dan told you to reach out. 615-488-7855, USSTN.com. 8:58. Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. By the way, the most overrated chip is the Dorito. Prove me wrong.
You're lying.
Nope.
Name another chip that was so popular among the American people that they turned it into a taco shell, Dan.
Fact check, true.
Okay.
Or a fire starter.
It's true.
A fire starter.
Yeah, you can use it as a fire starter.
A Dorito?
Yeah.
Ranch, right? Ranch flavored.
This is why you need to go with the organic version.
How do
that
you
way you don't
start
have a combustible belly.
a Dorito? How do you use a Dorito as a fire starter? Can you rub two Doritos together and it starts a fire?
You need a little flint and a spark, but yeah.
And you want to put that in your stomach.
Right.
This is why we've been
That's
pushing the
why.
organic version, Dan.
It's high
Boy,
oil and
man.
fat content makes it very flammable. The chips are a good source of fuel, and their curved, thin shape allows air to flow between them.
So you eat a bunch of Doritos and then you have gas and then you explode the house? Is that what happens?
It sounds like a party trick with some Everclear and blowing flames.
I'm just saying.
Sounds like voice of experience to me.
No, Joan.
Okay.
Some of us are a little more couth than others.
Is that right?
Josh texted in right after you said Doritos is the worst chip. He goes, there it is. Dan's worst take.
Most overrated chip, I believe, is the Dorito. Do you have an official opinion?
The Funyun.
Barbecue chips.
Oh, who are you, Joan?
I think Lay's potato chips in general.
Really?
Whoa.
Yeah.
Do you know what my current addiction is? You ever have the
throat coat tea?
Besides that, is you ever have the split big salty pretzels?
Like
split?
I don't
dark,
know.
yeah, dark split. They're called split. I don't know why, but they're dark and they're like dark pretzel. Dark pretzel.
are the-
Hanovers?
The ones that are like burned a little bit?
Yes.
You're talking
They're
like crunchy
so
pretzels or
Yeah.
soft pretzels?
They're crunchy
They're
pretzels.
crunchy.
The big and crunchy.
And they're burned. They're so good.
So you have the audacity, just to recap, you have the audacity to come on the air and say that the Dorito is the worst chip, and then you're going to shill for a big pretzel. Is that what you're doing?
Listen, I'll shill for big pretzel, no
I just
problem.
want to know. I just want to clarify. You're anti-Dorito,
Yes.
but you're going to shill for big pretzel.
The reason why, do you know why they have to keep upgrading the Dorito? Because they all suck.
That's because you can do different stuff with them. Telling me there's not buffalo and dill flavored pretzels out there?
No, because they got the pretzel perfect the first time. We have to go. It's 9 o'clock on WTN.